Welcome to Daytona International Speedway here for the Beverage Battle 400. Drivers have done their qualifying already. I am joined by Matt Metler here today. Wasn't able to make it last week, had some internet connection, or not last week, last race, but he had some internet connection issues. Hopefully those are all fixed for tonight. Would have a starting order, but they do qualifying before the race. So kind of the orders of what you see running down the left side of your screen. They're currently pulling up some race info. Only info that I really have, 160 laps. It's going to be a long race, same time as the real-life race also. But we do have a pretty big-name driver in here, Jon Dulaney. That's how you say his name there. He's a Coke driver who will be racing with us tonight. Ooh. Let me see if I can get... stage breaker cautions. I need to get Justin, Stoney, and Devin all here at some point. That's who he wanted me to interview. Pull up my treading paints also at the same time, give them all a paint refresh. So there we go. Real life Daniel Suarez's car just caught on fire not even 10 minutes ago, or not even 3 minutes ago pretty much. Y'all are interested in anything happening in the race in real life, but there you see that is the driver. It will load here in a minute, hopefully, for his paint scheme, because that is not the right paint scheme that he has. Hotzma, Gitter, Hoffman, Galota, Dulaney, Williams, Anderson, Hill, Hutchinson, DeCiani, all these other guys out here right now. Hopefully they can come home with the win or a good finish. This track is such a toss-up.
You know, they call Daytona the great equalizer. 32 drivers set to take the green flag, and any one of them has an equal shot at coming home with the big-time win here in prime time. And that's one of the things that I love about plate racing, as we get wrecked, stacked, ready to rock and roll. Patrick Gitter, no surprise, he's going to be up there on the front row. He's going to start outside of Lucas Hudson on the 97 machine.
You'll see everybody will be nose to tail here at this track, especially, too, with it being Daytona.
Yeah, that's almost a given. That pace car is going to pull off.
Starter will have the flag in his hand as the green flag is down and away, and we are racing here in the Beverage Battle 400.
Green flag in the air, and the V8s come roaring to life in Daytona Beach, USA. And we're already got the tandem craft going up here at the front as the trains are a-charging. Patrick Gitter leads the outside lane. The 97 is rocking on that inside, and we're already starting to do the Indy Snake a little bit as we come off the turns 1 and 2 complex and drag race down the backstretch for the first time this evening.
Reason we see so many people kind of chasing each other, kind of what you said was the snake. They're trying to follow that rear end exactly, and what that does is everybody starts chasing it. So, you know, one person moves up, that next person behind them moves up, and then person behind them. It's a chain reaction. People trying to stay completely in line as Hoffman is all over the 97 Hotzma. He is not letting go of that bumper. He wants to definitely kind of watch that, though. That could get your temperature way too high and cause that engine to expire early on in the race, and you do not want to be out only 2 laps into it. I saw people do that before, and it did not end up too well for them at all.
I've done that myself a couple months ago, actually. I was, big time race, and I was ready to rock and roll, and I was pushing so hard I completely forgot about the water temperature and blew that engine about 5 laps into the race. That's a great point there. Certainly, these drivers need to be mindful of that, is now focusing in on that outside lane. There's the Ford machine. Chevrolet leads the outside. Then you have the Ford of that 97 of Hotzma leading on the bottom. Embrace. They're starting to get formed up on the top shelf. They don't have the numbers yet, but they're coming to the front with big-time help from Patrick Gitter doing all the heavy lifting there with the Ford.
Yeah, Gitter is kind of staying a little bit off of Matt, and then on the straights, that's when you really want to shove. If you can really time your run, just shove down the straights, and you can basically just keep your foot in it down there. If you can, really, if the person in front of you can take the push, some guys can't take a push, and it really gets the car to start to move around. You'll see them wiggle a lot, and especially at least in A Open, it is a lot worse when you try to hit somebody. It's just like that rear end. It looks stable, but really it is moving around a ton. But you just don't see it very much because just the way these cars are built. But your hands are always moving in these cars when you're getting shoved. When you're doing the shoving, it's pretty much just I'm just going to lay it on your bumper there.
Yeah, when you're the one doing the shoving, your main goal objective is to square up. You want to put the nose of your race car flush in that back bumper. The last thing you want to do is right rear somebody or just have a bump gone wrong, and that's when you typically see a squirt shoot out of the pack and bad things happen. But that's what you really want to do when you're that pusher. So in this case, the 92 that's been working with Hutsuma up front, and they have been glued since the drop of the green flag. That outside lane, they are making every single attempt. You can see the HMFIC of the league out up on the high side as well. Bobby Anderson he's closer around that, 15th place position he currently runs right now as my timing and scoring updates. But Bryce, a long way to go in this race. You want to survive and be alive. A lot of different strategies here. Some of these drivers will start in the back, kind of wait for the big one to happen. Is we got somebody coming up the sucker hole. That was a big-time move there. I think that was from the Coca-Cola ride of Jonathan JD, no surprise.
Yeah, he's a Coke driver, really high I rating. One of the big people that Bobby was talking about coming here to race. He shot the gap that he saw, and he took that spot. He's got Carl Dotson behind him, just giving him a shove. And we have like a 4-car breakaway up on the top for a little bit, but I do expect this 86 behind them to get a draft somewhere and start to come back up and get to them. But he's got no help from behind from the 98. Now the 97 might help him here as he does hop up in front, so that'll give him a little bit of a draft there. As the 3 will now go down to the bottom. I think he actually left the outside open. Might have got loose off the corner because I don't think he really wanted to go down to the bottom. But Hotzema here, he comes with a big shot in the rear from Hoffman also.
Yeah, these guys on the bottom lane say, hey, no problem. We're going to pick you up and we're going to send you back to the point. That Coca-Cola driver making it look so easy out there. And Bryce, I think you're right. I think he got a little bit loose there on that top shelf. He had to come down to the bottom lane. But, hey, when you have the support, you have the numbers, you're able to maintain your position quite easily out there on the racetrack. In fact, here he goes back to the point again, side by side. John 4 special as we're going in or coming off of turn 2, firing down the backstretch.
So far, these guys have been pretty even with each other, mainly just really drafting, not too much pushings going on. As soon as I say that, we got the 97 glued to the 3 as he's going to shove him getting in the corner. You can shove in the corner, but you really want to be hooked up before you get to the corner, and you really want to hold a tight wheel so you don't turn the guy in front of you. But if you can push in the corner, it is such a speed difference, it's not even funny. But a little bit further back, we got some guys out here just riding single file, which is not a bad idea. I'd honestly be doing the same thing. We got some stragglers back here. Bird, Stein, Belt, Combs is almost going to get turned from the 35 here, but these guys are way unattached from the pack. So they'll need a caution here to get caught back up if they're going to have any chance of making a difference in this race. Because right now, they're not going to be able to make any. So who is that? That's one of these cars that had a similar paint scheme. That might have been the 86. Yeah, it was 86 of Joseph. Got a little bit loose there. I think he might have tried to throw a blocker. Kind of just the rear end got swiped on him, but that almost ended up completely bad for him. He has to be really careful about that, but now we have a whole bottom line that's starting to form up there.
Yeah, that bottom lane is really starting to take off. You can see the momentum, as they get the numbers and they tighten up, as that bottom lane continues now to just walk away from that outside lane. Looks to be now almost half a second, if not more, of a differential back. Just as I say that, here they start to gain momentum on the high side. As it's been the 3 car now leading in, carrying the torch here out in front early in this one.
Might be good if kind of, I think they're calm. They're calmed down right now. They're like, hey, you know, we don't really have to go nuts quite yet. It's only 10 laps into the race, and you have, 60 or 150 laps left. Excuse me there.
Gotcha. Like Bryce was saying, 10 laps written in the history books already, 160 the scheduled distance here tonight, and if we need overtime, we do have that at our disposal as well. Want to thank everyone for joining us here live on Ghost Racing Network. Saturday night in primetime, no better place to be than right here on YouTube, watching some of the best plate racers in iRacing doing battle out here on the big stage this evening.
See the 86 up on the top there, getting shoved with the 94. 4 Mountain Dew cars. So evidently those guys are probably going to work together tonight. Almost a similar paint scheme, just look like they just switched up some of the colors on it. But really running the bottom is what it seems to be. And I'd want to get on the bottom too if I were these guys up in that top line. I mean, you're 4 cars. It's not a bad thing, but still you can probably just benefit from saving.
Oh! There's a 1-2 whack-a-mole. The 8 got yeeted out of the hole. Hole being that bottom lane he was in, as there was a big-time checkup. He absolutely crushed the 98 of Stephen Williams. And then just as soon as he made contact with that, with the front of his race car, he took it on the business end from that other Camaro behind him. I'm impressed those drivers didn't have a moment there on the racetrack. Is typically when that happens, that's going to squirt someone off the racetrack, but these drivers had it under control. Trouble avoided for that Team Connie driver.
I saw him shoot up the track as that outside line has gained one more driver up there. Never mind, they're going to leave, or they might be switching. I think the 86 might have gotten loose there. That 94 might not be a good shover, possibly. They wanted Matt to get up behind Tim and shove instead, because it looks like that was pretty orderly. Wow, that 50 just chopped right down in front. He saw a hole and he was not letting that thing close up on him. He said, I'm just gonna take this position. You want to hit me in the rear, you can hit me in the rear, but he wanted to get down to the bottom basically as soon as he could. He did not want anything to do with that at all on staying on that outside line.
Yeah, I was worried that hole was going to close up on him, and sometimes that happens. When you initially see it, you have enough space, but because you're changing the lanes, you lose some momentum, and big things can happen quick, fast, and in a hurry. As I think I'm going to coin these Mountain Dew cars the Dew Crew. It's kind of funny. We got Pepsi and Coca-Cola battling it out here. So who's going to be in victory lane as that Coca-Cola 3 machine continues to carry the torch here at Daytona. Then you have the 97, who's literally been fixated on the 3's bumper since he took the lead. That's Hotsuma. And then Clayton Hoffman in that Nitro 92 runs in third. And it seems like, Bryce, when these 3 cars are teamed up together, they are turning some extremely fast lap times, and they could be tough to beat. In fact, just as I say that, JD and company almost have a 3-car breakaway. They were starting to gap, pulled away from that the rest of the train on the bottom there, but just as I say that, they start to reel them back in. And the Mountain Dew Brigade, those Camaros, have consistently been making progress on the top shelf, high side of the racetrack. And now the 26 and the 86 are going to hit the afterburner and try to challenge for the lead here. Big time pushing going on down the backstretch. Hotsuma lets the 3 go in the corner. The 86 and the 26, they stay connected. This is going to be a big time run here if he gets the rest of the 21 at Gitters there. That's going to shoot the 26 of Paul Hill back to the point side by side at the line. It was JD by 2 1/1000ths of a second that time at the line.
That top line has now formed up and gotten more drivers. It didn't take long to form up, though, but now that they've got drivers, they're now going towards the front here really, really quickly. They're going to challenge that 3. Paul will actually pull out to a little bit of a lead here, see if Hoetzema can get to the bumper of JD and give him a shot up there going into the corner.
Yeah, Paul Hill and Joseph went savage. I mean, they decided they were going to weld, basically themselves to each other. They stayed connected through the corner, got a huge run, and that was able to bring the rest of the Dude crew with them on the outside lane, and that's where we are right now, side by side, trench warfare style here at Daytona, as these guys are putting on one heck of a show. Now working lap 17 of the scheduled 160 laps. Bryson, it looks like that outside lane, they're going to start to surge ahead again. But every time we see this, that bottom lane gets that afterburner fired back up. And just as soon as they seem to, take the advantage, that bottom lane is right there once again.
That bottom lane definitely coming on really, really strong here now. Seeing that big run. 97 was getting a pretty good shot from the 92 behind, and it was allowing him to get a huge push, and it just shot him all the way up there. These guys are going to start to fight for these positions, especially. I mean, I think it's still too early. I wouldn't be pushing as hard, but I mean, if you can get away with it, you can get away with it. It just depends on how aggressive you want to be. Some people will like to be aggressive with it. Others won't. It just depends on how comfortable the person in front of you feels with the pushes. Also, you can't be glued to somebody and them not be comfortable with it at all. Evidently, Paul is fine with Joseph giving him a shove, because Joseph has been all over him for a while now.
Yeah, clearly those guys on the outside lane have had a lot of practice time together, because they have, like, to your point, they have no problem staying connected all the way around the racetrack, and that, will become a big key factor later in this race. You said top of the broadcast, if you're able to stay together throughout the, over the course of, the entire lap, I mean, that's going to definitely give you a ton of momentum, and oftentimes can be the difference at the line. As both these lanes now are about dead even there. Just as I say that, here we go, the outside lane there. Here comes the 26 and the 86. They throw it down to the bottom.
I think one thing that messed up JD is going into 1 and 2. He actually hit the apron and the car bobbled, and he kind of had to maybe get out of the throttle just a little bit, as 86 is going to bottle him up too. He's going to bottle up the whole inside line because of that. I think they're letting their teammates down. So that's why there's such a stack up, is they're trying to let the 94, the 21, the 4 all in line, and they had to lift, and they just started stacking up that inside lane. And that's what happens a lot of the times, is they try to let somebody in, and then it's just a huge stack up from then on.
Yeah, it's just like driving out in traffic on the interstate. Same thing. You have someone that's, slowing down, trying to get over, and it ends up checking everyone on, the lane that you're in. Very similar philosophy, and, things can go wrong as well. We've seen that a ton of times. In fact, we've seen that in the Xfinity race last night. Is now the Dude crew out in front for the first time tonight. Patrick Gitter runs in that second place position. Matt DiCiani, currently your leader, first time at the point this evening.
The 421 staying hooked up with each other right now. Seeing how good it will go for them. Looks like we got 2 lap cars that are going to be up there right now, so they will be put a lap down here very, very soon. They might be able to tuck in behind and only stay 1 lap down. Then they'll be kind of fighting for that lucky dog there. So it's going to get maybe a little bit weird, to be honest with you, with them fighting for that lucky dog. We'll just have to see how it goes. 421.94.
Power the wall.
That was somebody back there got into the wall. Not entirely sure who it was. We'll just have to see here in a minute.
I think that was the 98 as Stephen Williams that got in the wall. It was minor contact in the 98. I think it's the Monster Energy or a Monster paint scheme on that race car.
If it was a 98, then it's way back there, but that is a possibility. Sometimes you can't really tell who it was. Now these guys are actually just going, they're kind of switching up lanes now. They've gone high, they've gone low. I think they're just trying to hold their position more than anything else. I don't know if they're trying to block or what, but I mean, having 4 teammates it's going to make it hard. No doubt about that. We'll just have to see how difficult it becomes for him trying to get past people, because it can get annoying very, very quickly trying to get past a group of 4 cars that are all working together.
Yeah, sometimes it can be like the interstate pace car, and we've seen it already in this race where we're kind of checking up traffic a little bit so everyone could stay together on their march towards the front. You know, it's early in this race. We get, these drivers are seasoned veterans. They understand you can't win this thing on lap 1. So there's going to be a lot of give and take right now. But as we get further into this race, to Bryce's point, that timer is going to run out. And then it's going to be all-out aggression on the racetrack. And if that same trend continues, we could see some tempers start to boil over then. As Matt DeCiani continues to lead here at Daytona. Patrick Gitter in second. Carl Dodson now up 10 positions inside the top 3. Paul Hill currently residing in 4th, and rounding out your top 5, the 86 of Joseph Guda.
These guys are just going to be pretty nice with each other still. I don't think that you need to be pushing so hard. I think it's just, hey, we just need to relax, as this 97 is getting shoved from this 92 Hoffman's. I think he may have set up his car for shoving, possibly. That's what it looks like it might be. I'm not completely sure, though. But with the way that he's acting, I mean, he's either not afraid to shove or he's just going to wreck somebody on accident. But I'm not completely sure, to be honest with you. We'll just see. Not sure. I mean, I'm not sure how you would set up a car to shove, though. I know you can run a different gearing, but I have no idea, to be honest with you. I know about other stuff, but I'm not completely sure.
Going back a few years when I was new to iRacing, I remember hearing drivers and, setups for, shoving, versus leading. But that's I don't hear about it as much. I'm sure there is a way to do it, but you're right. I mean, it looks like either that's where he's comfortable as being a pusher, or that car is tuned to do all that, to be the pusher. And if that's the case, these guys have some great strategy right now, because it is working for them. When they do want to go to the front, they are able to get there quick, fast, and in a hurry. As now that outside lane is going to prevail once again. Matt DeCiani, top shelf for Mama hides the cookies. And now those Camaros now have split between the bottom and the top lane. Remember, they were all single file working together. And now it's a side-by-side Noah's Ark situation here at the point.
2 wide. You can go 3 wide if you have the guts for it. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but if you wanted to take the shot, you could. It's not like Talladega. Dega, you can honestly get away with it more than you can at other tracks, but here you really want to stay 2 wide, 3 wide, and again, it's pushing it, so I'd be very cautious if you wanted to do that.
Yeah, especially this early in the race, only 27 laps in. We've already had a couple moments there where if there was just a millimeter here or there, we've already could have had a couple cautions for incident, but not the case. We have been green flag since the initial green flag.
Still just 2 by 2. Some pretty aggressive shoving, but one thing that I kind of want to point out if anybody starts to do it is watch when... I don't know if they're doing it quite just yet, so let's see if I can get somebody... When they start shoving, it creates a stack up, and one issue that happens a lot is that when you're right behind somebody, you're trying to stay right on their bumper because you want to be able to shove them as straight as you can. But what that starts to do is you start to see that person who's right behind them. There's a lot of really quick movements. It's kind of with this 86 here. Not doing... Oh, we got... Oh, Lord. That's 61 of Cook. Almost put the 4 in the wall. He's going to go back down. He's going to be eaten up in that middle lane. He's got no help at all.
Now, there's the sucker hole, the vacuum. You can see how that 61 is just being drugged to the back. And that's the problem when you get trapped there. Sometimes it's, not by design. You just get shuffled there, or you go to, things happen. You get put there, and then it's almost a free pass to the back. until the end of the race. Then at times, and Bryce, probably with good as these drivers are, not afraid to use the middle to, to get to the front if that's an open option for him, as these laps begin to wind down later on.
When you're hung out, we say you're hanging them out to dry. You just don't help them at all. But you can definitely make moves up the middle. It's definitely a gutsy move because some guys are like, whoa, did he just make that move up there? And they're like, yeah, he really just did make that move. Nobody's really honestly expecting you to go middle, but when you go into the middle, they kind of start to realize they're like, oh crap, we got a guy up here. We need to start watching him because if we don't, this is not going to end up well. It just depends on how it is. The 86 just hit the apron and smacked it there, but he is. I wish I could see driver temp or not the driver temp, the engine temperature from information I can get, but I'm not able to. But I would love to see when they. Oh Lord, and there they go. The 68 got turned around, Hicksenbach, and he's able to save it. Excuse me. He stayed green. I don't know how that's not a caution. Have to go back and look at that, but
that is some great heads-up driving as we go back to the GRN instant replay.
And there's the caution going out. I have a Razer keyboard, and it's lighting up yellow. So the caution did come out after we're on this. I can't tell from this view. Looks like there might just be a stack up, and
there we go.
Yeah, wow, big stack up, and Hicksenbach couldn't slow down. The 47 couldn't slow down. The 28. That's just guys not knowing that there's a checkup in front, and really, honestly, nobody got any real damage from that. Stone just slides through the infield, so no harm, no foul really in any of that just happened. But that's the first caution that's come out. I do expect them to come down pit road, however, take 4 tires and fuel. They've been running on the same set of tires so far, so.
Yeah, so Ford Dr. Feelgood's going to fill up the tank of Go Fast. And to your point, when I see that, that wreck, and when it first kicked off, I thought for certain there was going to be some carnage. But those drivers did a great job of just holding on to it, going through the grass, keeping the momentum up, keeping it, pointed straight, and then getting it back onto the racing surface. A delayed caution there, nonetheless, is that iRacing.com pace car is now picked up the field.
See it. There it is. Having to slow down for it, so they will not go down pit road this time. 31 laps of 150. That's just not. Pit road was open. Pace car just didn't catch him. Hotsuma. Looks like JD will come down pit road. Wembley, Samuelson, Hutchison, Neal, Schofield, Dyson, Williams, Stone, Benfield. That's a lot of people. Salter, Hodge. I'm not even going to say this. There's too many people down pit road right now at the moment to start saying it. That's ridiculous. There was a wreck in the real race. So just so y'all know that there was one. Collected a lot of cars.
Yeah, pit road has become the hottest place in the joint. Everyone, or most of these drivers down getting service on their race cars for the first time this evening. There's always something about Daytona under the lights at night. We've seen it yesterday in the Xfinity race. Tonight, we've already had a car literally burned to the ground on pit road. Then we just had a big accident pop off just moments ago.
As Bobby wanted me to interview, no, I just moved the whole display over. Sorry about that. Bobby wanted me to interview some people. Let me see. Well, that's you. Justin, let me get him. Is he in a room here? Let me see very quickly. Lights are still on the pace car, so I will have time. Justin. Neil, Steve, Gitter. He's not in a room, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking as well, and I'm not seeing that name either right now.
It looks like we can do... Next caution we get, we'll do Stoney Benfield.
Stoney Benfield in the 78. Under caution here for the first time this evening. Give these drivers a chance to catch their breath, reset, refocus. The calm before the storm on the racetrack as that iRacing.com pace car continues.
First caution. Oops, sorry, first caution, just a little bit of a mistake there, but guys are actually topping off, which is not a bad idea. I'd be doing the same thing, to be honest with you. Looks like we get the 21.4. It's a 14. This is literally Hendrick Motorsports at super speedways.
That's a great way to put it. You ain't wrong.
So, yeah, even though none of them are the closest number, they're all driving Chevy, so that's pretty close. I remember, really, Hendrick. I don't know. Hendrick is still as dominant as they were, but kind of looking at the lineup, it's kind of a, I don't know, it's kind of like nostalgic, really. That makes me sound like I'm old now, to be honest with you, but I'm not. Not that old.
Old enough to know. There you go. But no, you're right. I'm a little bit older than you, and I remember, just, the late 90s, early 2000s. This sport was just dynamite. If you never experienced it, it's so hard to explain. Yeah, you can go to YouTube, but when you lived it and just got to be there at these races and, watch, just all the different sponsors, the drivers, the cars at that point in time, it was just so, I wanted to be at the racetrack as much as I possibly could. Let's put it that way.
Definitely was a fun time with watching those races, especially when I think honestly when kind of those guys started leaving, it's when NASCAR kind of lost a little bit of its popularity, which is kind of sad, but definitely tried to gain it back the most recent years. But pace car will pull in here. Starter will have the flag in his hand as the green flag is in the air. We are back underway here. Restart's not so important at a track like this. You just don't want to get out too far ahead, which is kind of odd. You would think you would want to get a really big jump, but you surprisingly don't want to be doing that. That will end up pretty bad for you because you will get hung out to dry and you will have absolutely zero help back there when you, or up there when you get that big of a jump. They'll just set you up for a pass and just blow on right by you.
Speaking of blowing on right by you, see that slingshot move from that Dark Horse Mustang there on the high side of the racetrack? That 28 had a huge run, was able to find a gap between that Sprite machine, that 34, and the 86, and was able to fit it right on the top shelf there. Beautiful move on that restart. And that's another thing, Bryce. Great way to get some track position here. Because sometimes you run into certain circumstances where and caution's back out on the racetrack.
So that must be a stage break here. I forgot where is the... I need to look at race info. Kind of this is scattered throughout. Yeah, that's definitely a stage right there. So they'll come down. They'll top off on fuel for sure. They're not going to... they're about wrecking each other under caution. I don't think they're realizing that they're checking up, but they are about to wreck themselves if they're not too careful with it. I've wrecked under caution before, and it is probably the most embarrassing thing that you can do in iRacing.
Yep, send it into the barrels at Richmond under caution. I know what that feels like. It's not fun.
No, it definitely is not. You're like, did I really just do that?
You called that race.
Yeah, like when it happens too, you're like, if you're a broadcaster, the feeling that goes through you, you're like, there's no way that guy really just wrecked under caution. But when you're the driver that does it, you're like, oh my gosh. Like, it's just the feeling, you just feel horrible. You're just like, I feel really, really, really stupid because I did that now.
Yeah, and if you've ever done it, then you can even relate on a personal level. And I'll be honest, I did it once. I mean, I ate them dead on at Ghost Cup Series. It's on GRN. You can go and find it. I own it. Here they come down pit road. Here comes the Ford DeCiani Gitter. I believe Charles Wimbley as well on pit road.
I think he is staying out. He pit on lap 31, so staying out isn't a horrible option. I mean, you're just going to be off on fuel. I would really want to come down pit road, though. I just think it would be a bad idea to stay out, just because you're the odd one on fuel, and it's really hard to save, especially when you're leading. It's basically almost impossible to save fuel doing that. It's just not easy to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty much the fuel pig when you're out there leading. You're the car initially punching the hole in the air. You're getting the worst fuel economy. I don't care how you slice it out of anyone out there on the racetrack. You're absolutely right.
And
So Wimbley, Hutchinson, Anderson, and how about a shout out to Bobby for putting this series together, doing such a great job each and every time, Bryce, we come back. We see just the growth, the expansion in the series, and he is really building something special here. Just wanted to tip the hat to him, and these races so much fun to call. I look forward to these each and every time they go live here on Ghost Racing Network. Still under caution, Wimbley now leading.
as we will actually bring in Stoney, as I have found him on the track and also found his Discord, so I'm going to drag him all the way up. Here he is, NC811 Motorsports. Just have to remember that. Hey, Stoney, this is Matt and Bryce in the booth. Got a copy, man?
Yes, sir, buddy. How you doing tonight?
Man, so you're running 22nd right now, but it's Daytona, so anything can happen. You know, how has the race gone for you so far, man? Because it seems like you're not doing too bad right now.
Oh, man, we're just sitting back here trying to take care of our stuff, myself and the 88, and just waiting for this thing to come to us, Matt.
Now, so how has the racing been so far? Has it been, everybody's been pretty calm with the shoves, or have they been really aggressive from your point of view? Because some guys have been absolutely glued to some people's bumpers when they get a chance.
Yeah, it's been real respectful where we're at here, and I think guys are doing a good job there.
All right, man. Well, I'm going to let you go. Good luck to you, man. Hopefully we will see you in victory lane, or at least with a good finish.
I hope so, man. Thank you so much.
That was Stoney Benefield. I'll drag him all the way back down to his room. There is a lot of drivers in there. NC811 Motorsports. But the lights have gone off on the pace car here, so they will get the green next time by. As I'm checking, what is this photo? I can't see what this is. She didn't get. What is this for? I can't tell what this is. What's this? What track is it? What photo is this? I have no idea.
The things we try to figure out while live doing a broadcast sometimes.
It's times for something. So I don't know what track. I don't know what track it is though. Is the issue? So I'm kind of confused. But well, I'll find that out later. I have no clue at all.
Bobby Anderson's going to restart here in third. That's the M&M's ride. However, it's the Ford version. That throws me off every time I look at that car, because I'm used to seeing Kyle Busch with a TRD badge, but it's Bobby Anderson in a Mustang.
Well, I mean, heck, Dale Earnhardt, he drove a Ford. Gordon, he drove a Ford at one point in when what is now called the Xfinity Series, which was now at that time was the Busch Series. He drove a Ford. A lot of drivers drove a Ford that you wouldn't think, or drove a different manufacturer, and seen them in a different one. You're just like, what is that? That just looks weird. Pace car will pull in here, and the green flag is in the air. We are back underway. Hopefully these guys can keep it clean for each other at the moment. Pretty good jump overall. The 15 getting the shove from my third remove, second remove. I don't know. I'm related to him. Cameron Stone, distant relative of mine, making my grandpa's family name proud, I guess. He's doing a good job up there. He's currently sitting in second. He last pitted on lap 32, however, so he is kind of the odd one on fuel at the moment. Yes, he has ducked down to the bottom, looking at the 34 still right now.
Now, that 34 still right now, and then you got that outside lane. They're starting to come roaring back once again. Now that we got these cars back up to full tilt here at Daytona, big time pushing from the 21 of Patrick Gitter. all over the back of that 98 Chevrolet Camaro. Man, he gives him such a push. I mean, he shoots him all the way out, and he's going to just cross over the 97 and send it, and he finds a home on the bottom. I cannot get luck like that if I tried to buy it. Incredible.
Hotzema almost pinched somebody in the wall. I think they got him on the outside just enough. And when you're racing a track like this, it's really weird when they try to pass you on the outside, because you can kind of set your car a certain way to where if they make a move, you have time to react. You can kind of run both lanes at once. It's really hard to do when you're trying to block them. And it sounds like, oh, just put your car where they're going to be. Well, when the runs are as big as they are, it's incredibly hard to deal with people who are going 6-7 miles an hour faster, and you may think, oh, that's not that fast, but I mean, trust me, that is really fast when you're going such high speeds. I mean, it's not like your highway at all. It is completely different going as fast as these guys are.
Yeah, especially when that car is, loaded up in the corner, and you get that bump, that additional 6-7 miles an hour. You're going for a ride, and that's happened probably 99.89% of the time. Anytime you try to do aggressive blocking, it never usually goes well. Is Charles Wimbley now up to that 5th place position, up 9 spots from where he started in that 5th place spot. Paul Hill, the 26th machine. I was getting him confused with the 34, so I apologize for that, folks. Now the 88 is going to get involved in this mix as well. That's going to be David Salter. First time here inside the top 10, up 10 positions from where he started. The 88 starting to come towards the front, Bryce.
Kind of big announcement with the 88 in actual real life. That will now be SVG Shane Van Gisbergen, the New Zealand? Yeah, he's from New Zealand. Yes, correct. He's not Australian. They call him Kiwi. He is going to be with Trackhouse in the 88, which is actually Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s old number with Hendrick. I think they're gonna put kind of the same line in the number that they have for the 99 of Suarez and the 1 of Ross Chastain, but they will expand to a 3-car team, so that will be interesting for them. Hopefully he does good. I think he still needs to improve on the ovals. I still think they're moving him up a little too fast. I would maybe still have him run Xfinity, at least part-time. Keep him on the ovals. He doesn't need more practice on the road courses, evidently. I mean, he's won every single road course race this year in Xfinity, so he's actually leading the playoff points right now with those wins.
Yeah, such a great talent. I mean, no denying it, but we've seen over the course of history various drivers that were highly accredited come up through the ranks too fast. Back in the day, they called it the ABC plan. Now they have, each manufacturer has their quote-unquote development program. But I agree with you, man. I don't think he's ready to go full-time.
Oh, as a car has just grenaded in the... Oh, and well, isn't that iconic? We are talking about SVG, and I think his engine just... Oh, yeah, it is blown up. Is that SVG? Or is that... that might be AJ Allmendinger. One of the Kaulig cars has just exploded in real life. I mean, absolutely grenaded down the backstretch. As soon as we were talking about, I'm hoping, if that is SVG, that is ironic. Broadcaster's curse. Yep. Broadcaster's curse. If that is him, if that's either AJ or that is SVG this race. And I think it might be SVG this race. We'll just have to see when that updates for it. But Hutchinson, he is riding 3rd right now. Let me see who it is. Yep, it is. It is Shane this race. I just checked the timing. Yeah, that engine is gone. It blew up. Well, sorry, Shane. That was our fault for talking about you.
Last week, Sunday Night NASCAR, I'm only bringing this up because there's a few drivers in this race that run that league. Myself and my broadcast partner instantly KO'd 2 drivers at the point in time we referenced their name at 2 different points in the race. Absolutely destroyed their night. We both apologized to him, and then here we do it tonight, talking about a different race. Sometimes that force is not a good thing. It prevents you from, talking about certain drivers because it seems to follow them. And that's the last thing you want to do up here in the broadcast booth is Ralph Hutchinson in that 15. Now, to the point, getting a big shot there from the Coca-Cola 3 machine. JD doing all the pushing. And They had some big-time momentum. Over speeds over 208 miles an hour potentially.
Oh, there they go. Uh-oh, we got a car on its side. And here's, oh my gosh, this is a parking lot. Holy crap.
We
wow.
have just completely nuked the entire field.
Talk about blowing up. They just dropped Hiroshima and Nagasaki at the same time at Daytona. Holy crap. That was almost everybody. I mean, there is so many notifications for an off track. It is ridiculous.
Yeah, the black box on our timing and scoring side has literally went nuclear. We go back to the GRN instant replay and try to dissect the big one here at Daytona.
Well, it starts with the 15. Evidently, if I can get the far chase, Stone hits him off of exit, and then it is on from there, the 34, and it's just, hey, everybody join in. You want some spare bumpers? Oh, Jesus. This is literally, wow. I mean, I don't know how many people that is, but that is the whole entire field, no joke.
Now, these drivers do not have fast repairs either. And that's the problem when you have an incident like this kickoff at the front. Tries to save it, comes down, and just karate chops the inside line, sends the Sprite back up into traffic, and then it completely bottlenecks, turns into a basically a hot dumpster fire there on the front stretch. There's nowhere to go. Every lane is plugged up. The grass is even plugged up, and we still have parts raining into the grandstands.
Wow.
As we've went nuclear at Daytona.
Talking about nuclear, so in the span of 3 minutes, we had Shane Van Gisbergen blow up, and they showed a replay of it. This isn't like, Ty Gibbs' engine expiring at Pocono. I mean, this thing literally nuked. I mean, it blew up. I mean, huge cloud of smoke out of that engine. Then we have basically 90% of the field wreck. 12 doesn't have a front end. If anybody wants to buy that, you can probably go to Penske's shop and put it on your wall. 62 doesn't have a front end. Jesus.
Well, Nolan Hodson got set for a wild ride X-Games style. He made contact so hard, this car basically took off in the air at a 45-degree angle and came down on its face. So a lot of these drivers had some intense moments out there on the racetrack. That wasn't a code brown, that was code everything.
A lot of carnage. That is, I remember the biggest wreck I ever saw was actually 2011 at Dega. I remember I was a Gordon fan. Gordon got through it. I think it was Matt Kenseth who won that race. Gordon got second, but I've saw some big wrecks, but that is, I mean, I don't think there's, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 drivers, and that's going off their pit time. 19 drivers were involved in this, and it looks like maybe add one more, the 20 on that list, but that is more than half the field just got involved in that wreck.
Yeah, we're talking some high-impact drivers, too. Andrew Dyson, Matt DiCiani, Clayton Hoffman, Matty Long, Nolan Hodson, Neil Pearson, the modern-day Silver Fox. I mean, some big-time names in that list. Does this, now that we've had this evolution, does this open the door for, perhaps, I don't want to say an underdog, but maybe someone to break through and get there first?
Honestly,
challenge, win perhaps tonight.
I mean, that's kind of the thing with super speedways, is that you really don't know who's going to win. I mean, stuff can happen that you won't think would happen, but that'll take out a lot of people.
Yeah, no fast repairs, so it's, this is just like real life. If you wreck it out there on the racetrack, I mean, you got to put it back to, send it back to your pit box, and you just sit there and wait for that car to be repaired good enough to bring it out in traffic. And just because iRacing says it's good to roll doesn't mean it's going to be competitive by any means. So it could be a very rough rest of the evening for some of these drivers. as we get this racetrack prepped to go back green flag racing as we literally set it off here on GRN. 20 drivers involved in that incident on the racetrack.
Good Lord, I mean, it looks like 2022 Daytona when Dylan won with the group we have right now. It's such a small field. I mean, that was... I don't know how we still have people to race. I mean, one thing at this track that's going to make it worse is this is such an air-reliant track that these guys are going to have to get their damage fixed. If you have any bit of damage, it's going to find that, and it's going to just start pushing air on that part of the car, and you don't want it to do that, but that is a nuclear wreck, literally a nuclear wreck that these guys just have. But pace car is getting ready to pull off. I'm going to have to clip that and sim that because that is massive, massive wreck.
I was thinking the same thing.
68 and the 21 going to lead them back to green here as Gitter gets a good jump. I don't think he wants to get too far of a jump. He may realize, hey, let's kind of fall back in. I would almost say that these guys might be tiptoeing around each other now just a little bit, thinking, hey, let's, you know, not race so hard because we might wreck each other.
Well, I think that was the case for a majority of these drivers up here near the front. However, Hixenbaugh, he is still fired up. He made a he changed his lane there, had a big run on the high side, set it down to the bottom. Now the 13 goes below the double yellow line. As he's going now, he's doing the slide for life. That's Cody Bird going all the way to the back. I don't know if that was a strategy or if he got shoved down there. More oftentimes than not, that is the case, but he finds the hole, gets it back up on the racetrack, may lose the lead draft, but he has help coming behind him. He should be okay, but that's going to cycle him deep. Wait, I believe now P22.
That
he currently runs
may
right
be a
now.
plan. That may be a planned move. I'm not completely sure, but it didn't look like it was egregious thing. That wasn't. I mean, that's not very uncommon to see as guys. They just want to get out of it. I mean, again, you have over 100 laps left. Why ruin your car when you have it? You see another person below that double yellow line. There used to not be a rule, double yellow line rule. Gordon, actually, Jeff Gordon fans, I talk about this. One of his Daytona 500 wins, he made a really aggressive move, stuck it 4 wide, went below the double yellow line, actually about ran over a guy that was coming off the pit road. And it was interesting. It was really, really interesting looking at that. I can't remember why they implemented that move. Why did they implement that move? Okay, ChatGPT, why did they implement the move in NASCAR? Let me ask that. Why did they, not when? The double yellow line rule in NASCAR. What does ChatGPT say? Safety reasons, 2001. Dangerous moves, fair enough, fair competition. I can see that. Spectator safety, and well, now we know. I thought the 04 was about to move this 00.
Tony Stewart's wreck back in 2000 or in 2000, I think it was a big part of that rule. He went, he went for a ride. I mean, end over end, barrel rolled, flipped, and if I remember correctly, that was a big catalyst for the reason why they developed that out of bounds double yellow or out of bounds rule. As Patrick Gitter continues to lead, has a familiar face behind him, and Paul Hill in the 26. David Salter rounds out that third place position. Stephen Williams, Bobby Anderson now up to 5th. Cody Porter, Bryce up 22 positions.
Sometimes it's just better to avoid all the carnage than be
trying
to race.
At the when it kicked off and made everyone that was hanging out in the back, made them look like they had, the right strategy call there. But Bryce, as you know, these wrecks, they can kick off anywhere. The front, the middle, the back. It's just the luck of the draw when it happens.
A lot of guys, they just have to realize that, hey, this is not a good idea to make this move. Some guys are way more aggressive than others. It depends, but we got guys that are, we got, it's like 1, 2, I'm trying to count how many people we have out right now. 4, 5 people are out, and we got some guys with Is that front end damage? No, wrong. Ralph looks fine. He's got some spoiler damage still. No. Who is that bent up? 86 spoiler is off the ground. His front end smashing also. That's going to hurt a lot for him.
Yeah, Joseph's got pug face on the front of that race car. That's not doing him any favors here. That's for sure, for certain.
Really, at some tracks you can get away with a little bit of damage, but really at tracks like this, they're low horsepower, high downforce type of racing. So once these cars get wound up, they're wound up. But once they slow down for just a second, it takes a little bit to get their speed back, and it's not, you can't really rely so much on horsepower as aero reliant as this track is. So if you have damage, it'll be shown. You can get away with a little bit of damage, but when it's damage like that, you're going to notice for sure.
Yeah, depending on what kind of damage you have on the race car or how moderate it is, you can disguise it, you can hide it, you can sandwich yourself in the pack, just in the draft. If you're in a line of cars, the second or the third or fourth car in line, preferably. You don't want to certainly be at the front or at the rear or in this pack racing setup that we have right now. As long as you're tucked in there in the middle, you'll be okay. But when things start to dice up like it is right now, we're starting to scatter all over the place. The minute your car has is exposed to the elements, it's going to act like a giant parachute and just you'll start to fall back from the other cars around you on the racetrack. And it's certainly, like you said, to your point, really hard to get that momentum back once you lose it. Easy to lose the draft as well, as the Sprite machine made a big-time move up to the top shelf, and then as soon as he went up high, he came flying back down to the bottom, slid in right behind the 26, talking about the 34 of Wembley.
Kind of having to fake out, make him think, hey, I'm going to go here. No, I'm actually going to go here. See, hey, if you're going to try to block this, I'm just going to go to the inside, and it's mind games. You can set guys up for passes. It's really hard to set them up for it, though, because you have to kind of watch how they've been driving, what their tendency is, and you try to get them to buy. And a lot of the times, it'll take a couple of laps, but once you do it once and you kind of fail, you kind of have to say, this strategy is not going to work. Maybe I can attack it from this direction. But that's not an uncommon move, top to bottom, to get around somebody, to get that position that you do need on them.
Oh, no, certainly not an uncommon move. We see it a lot. It was just the way he executed it. He basically did it by himself, which was really impressive. I mean, he didn't have any help up there. He just said, hey, I got a big enough front where I can take it outside, and I'm going to be able to clear it. That's impressive. When you get that kind of a run, you can do it all by yourself. No battle buddy, no dance partner involved. That's exactly what the 34 did there. That's going to now slot him in that 6th place position, so well inside the top 10. Cody Porter in the 04, second biggest mover of the race. He's not up 18. Bryce, this guy is up 28 positions. He started in the next county over, and now he's out here leading at the big house. And look who's pushing him, no surprise. Clayton Hoffman in that 92 TRD powered Camry. I mean, that thing is a missile when it comes to shoving. I mean, it seems like anyone that 92 gets hooked up with, you just go places.
Hoffman able to stay pretty glued to the bumper. I do want to see what RPM is he running. He is running, so he might have to, no, he wouldn't be able to drop down to 4th. So he has a 5th gear setup. That might be a side draft right here. I don't know. Listen to how flat this is. Who is on that inside line? Listen to how flat Porter's engine is. I don't know if that's the Mustang or if that's his setup, but that engine sounds really, really flat. He's so low in the RPM, he might actually need to shift up a gear to get that car to maybe pick up some speed, because it is not doing what he needs it to right now.
Yeah, with some setups, that I've had, with pack racing like this, having the ability to shift, is makes all the difference, especially, when you're at, possibly in a position where you can lose the draft out there on the racetrack, or if you need to regenerate that momentum quickly, having that option to downshift to 4th gear to get this car, where it makes, all the power, because we're so limited on horsepower, that can really be helpful at times. But on the other side of the spectrum, it can hurt you as well. So it's a trade-off as we watch the 21 and 92 continue to work together here at the front. As we now pan towards the back, the 41, Jason Taylor there. There's Patrick Stein in that 21st place position. I wonder if he's related to Nick Stein.
Heck, he probably is. There's been so many people that I've found that I'm related to, or either my family knew him somehow. There's a guy who was his name's Wayne Bowen, guy that I know from iRacing. He was actually setting up a team, and Wayne messaged me. He's actually he lives in Louisiana, but he saw my last name. He said, "Hey, where are your parents from?" And I said, "They're from Carroll County." And they said, "Your brother," I'll go ahead and say his name, Gary, or not brother, is, Gary Kobler?" And I said, "That's my uncle." And he was like, "Are you kidding me?" He knew my uncle when they were kids. And I was like, "Yeah, he's my uncle." And he's like, "Wow, that's amazing." Well, I mean, you find so many people that you wouldn't think you're related to in this game, and I think other games it's kind of hard to find people that you're related to or know somebody through mutually. But iRacing, at least in the A Open, because it's mainly American based and really NASCAR. The NASCAR side of iRacing is more Americans than anything else. You'll find a lot of people that you pretty well know, as it is extremely dark on this backstretch. You need to turn on these lights here.
That could be by design. You never know. Clayton Hoffman continues to lead here at Daytona. We've gone single file. Bryce, that tells me these drivers have seen enough of the pit stops.
All right, get them all. Yeah, get in. Oh, nobody got in deep. I want to see tires smoking. That's how you know you're getting in there deep. But that looks like that was a planned pit stop from Hoffman, Gitter, Hill, DeCiani, Joseph, and Carl all coming down pit road at the same time. Need to get a clean stop here. Do not slide through your pit box. If you slide through your pit box, one, you're going to ruin your chances. Two, you're going to feel really stupid at the same time. Looks like they're pretty fine, though.
Yeah, and to your point, you overshoot that pit box just a little bit. That can leave you with no dance partner exiting pit road and completely, kill your race potentially, as that group is now down and away. We send it back up to the front. Stoney Benfield. We spoke to him a little bit ago in the broadcast, and now he has got the 70 out there towards the front. High side coming back to life once again. So we got Toyota on, Mustang action going on here at the front.
Looks like Jason Taylor is up front right now. He's got the Coke driver coming behind him to give him a shove. I think that 78's paint scheme is based off Pristine Auctions, I think. I'm just kind of going off a little bit of a guess here. Not completely sure, to be honest with you, but that 41 got a really big shove out there. I think that those guys that pitted, they might be able to make it to the end. We will just have to see if they can, but I do think they will be able to make it. How good is their fuel? Because that was probably a short pit, or they're pitting just in time for it. We'll just have to find out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the game plan. As soon as that window opened, they came down pit road, and I think it'll be close, but they should have enough go fast in that tank to make it to the stage here. Because now Jason Taylor out in front tonight. Another drive from back in the pack to start this race, and he's got a great dancing partner. Hey, JD from the Coca-Cola Racing Series. And that's one of the other things about iRacing, that's really second to none. Not only can you race with the elite in the sim racing world, but how many of us have had, or currently, leagues with Xfinity Series drivers, current Cup drivers, drivers of, the golden era. I really can't think of anywhere else you can have that type of an experience, with, either from a fan standpoint or just an enthusiast. And that's really a dynamic that's completely unique to iRacing. And that's one of the things that I absolutely love about it. You never really know who you just might join a session with anytime you log in. But man, the 41 is really getting sent by the 3. I mean, he is so good at pushing. It's like that car's on a rail around the bottom of the racetrack. He is not moving. Absolutely incredible driving there by JD in the 3.
Trying to find. I think they posted his Twitch at some point in the Discord, and I'm scrolling up to look for it, but evidently I'm not able to find it, but I know he does have it. It might be in my search history. I might have to go see here for a second. I don't use Twitch. I don't know, it's definitely longer running than YouTube for stuff like for gaming, but I honestly prefer YouTube streaming over Twitch. They're a little bit more lenient. You can actually get away with some stuff. Sounds like I'm doing stuff, illegal stuff, but I'm not. Yes, that is Pristine Auction. If y'all don't know what Pristine Auctions is, look at the side of the 78. If I can get a good camera angle. Can't get a good one. They really need to turn on the lights at this track. Is that Pristine or does that say something else? I'm actually curious. What does this say?
That's Pristine with the old Furniture Row font on the 78.
I can't see it.
Well, that says Baptist Church.
Yeah, that's not Pristine. I don't know what that is. Oh, that's Prospect, I think. Yeah, that's Prospect Baptist Church is what it may be. But as we were trying to figure out what that writing said, reading Egyptian hieroglyphics apparently, the 68 has gone to the lead. Bobby Anderson has jumped up in that top line, and that M&M Ford Mustang that they redesigned this year flared out the fender wells a little bit more, made it a little bit more aggressive. He has gone up to that high line. You want to see that other group that pitted is now trying to pick up time. They are basically 30 seconds behind. However, they are gaining a lot, and they're going to keep gaining since these guys are going side by side with each other. At the same time we're doing this, I'm also trying to keep eyes on the real race. They have just finished stage 2, and correct that they did have Larson has a chunk missing out the door. They just put tape over it. That's one thing about NASCAR. If it still runs, by God, we're going to put it on the track. As Bobby Anderson tried to get to the rear quarter panel of that 68 and almost wrecked himself.
Almost wrecked himself, but those guys had some momentum. They were churning. Is able to dial it up there on the high side of the racetrack, bring it right down to the bottom. That's going to, Oxenbaugh now to the lead. Bobby Anderson's going to take over that second place position. New M&M's paint scheme on Anderson's car. He's been a rocking America's favorite nut. The previous races he's competed in, but tonight it's all about the crispy side of things. So he has been crisp, pushing that 68 of Oxenbaugh.
Looking at Gitter again, these guys have picked up 4 seconds from when I last checked on them, and these guys are and they're all lined up in a line too. They're not racing each other for position. They're just shoving as hard as they can, and they realize, and they're snaking each other down the back stretch. They're just staying in line, shoving. Don't start racing side by side because the side draft is so hard in these cars that if you get side drafted, I mean, you instantly drop RPMs, and you drop about at least 500 RPMs off the bat.
I'm not surprised seeing who's leading that pack. Patrick Gitter. That man is a restart weapon. I'm not kidding. Patrick Gitter, he could do things on a restart, make his car look like he's got 300 horsepower and all-wheel drive compared to the competition. But typically in the other league, I always say nobody gets gone like Patrick Gitter. When you were saying they're catching these guys, I am not surprised if he is leading the charge there. And you're right, they are cutting a ton of time into this lead group. And now they go single file, so this is going to give them a little more speed in the speed department here, especially when Bobby Anderson is pushing on the back of Oxenbaugh like that. And every driver now ripping the bottom, all in formation. And you can see that interval, it was going the opposite direction. Now it is about stabilized as this lead pack now is single file, ripping conveyor belt style here at Daytona. Oxenbaugh continued leading. Someone thought about taking a peek there to the outside. I think that may have been either Sauter or Benefield. But they bring it back down in line.
All of them just deciding to, it's like, hey, let's just be nice with each other. I don't really think that we need to race too hard. Also can save them a little bit of fuel, not a lot, but it'll save them some fuel riding like this. I will also give them maybe a little bit better straight line speed with trying to race each other. And maybe not let the guys that came down pit road catch up to them, as they actually evened out now that they've gotten on a line. They're not gaining, or the people behind them aren't gaining anymore. So they're doing a good job right now of that so far.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about just a couple moments ago too. Now that they're single file, that's basically stabilized. It's they're not gaining time like they were, and this is a great way to kind of cap how many cars you have to race here. However, we do have one more stage, so I do take that back. We're going to have to reshuffle, re-rack, restack the deck. But to your point you were making just a couple moments ago, these guys could all just decide, hey, you know what? Let's all work together right now and take this other group of competitors' cars out of the equation here. So when it's go time, it's just going to be us. We don't have to worry about said group of drivers. And that's one thing you can do here at these plate tracks. You can work together well enough. You can separate yourself from the competition like this group has done. There's the 21 of the getter.
See how these guys go with each other. Now, sorry, I got it. Oh, Lord, that's loud. Sorry, I got a scanner going off right now. That is loud in my ear. Let me turn that off. There we go. I don't know how long they're going to run on fuel. It just depends. And the question is, how close are these guys, or how good are they to the end of it? Or did they just pit early because they needed to pit early? Or was that a choice that they made consciously? I'm not completely sure, to be honest with you. We'll just have to find out there at the moment. I really do not have a clue.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. That could have been just a real-time decision there because of the way those cautions came out, or that caution came out, I should say. But nonetheless, we'll find out, to your point. Huxenbaugh continues to lead here in that Chevrolet Camaro.
So the top.
The 81. Go ahead. Ryan Samuelson, there's the 81, another SNN Sunday Night NASCAR driver here competing tonight. I thought I recognized that paint scheme.
This is
Heck of a wheel, man.
This is the top 17 that are all in a line with each other. Nobody's really trying to pass. They're just staying really nice and even with them, which is what I'd be doing. I'd be doing the exact same thing, to be honest with you. He's kind of running back here, just holding on to the pack in front of him. This pack behind them gained about 3 seconds there. They are running. Wow. Well, that might be in the corners. No, they're actually keeping their speed up in the corners, too. So we'll just have to see how aggressive these guys will be. But I think they just picked up, they picked up a lap car up here. They caught Bird. So he's going to be leading this whole pack. So there are more lap cars that are behind him. The 13, the 61, the 28. These guys all have damage. So they'll probably tuck back in line as soon as they can, just so they don't have to, just so they don't lose more laps than what they already have lost.
Yeah, or hopefully they'll have a spot or an opening where they can duck back in line. Otherwise it is easy to lose the draft, especially, when they're coming by you, 15, 20 miles an hour faster than you are out there on the racetrack. Ooh, the 13 got a little bit of an awkward push there from the 61. He was able to handle that and counter for it nicely there. Send it back up to the point. Here's JD once again, making his presence known here at Daytona as he stalks the back of that 41 machine being piloted by Jason Taylor. Steve Williams now leads. I believe the first time he has led this evening.
Saw Bobby Anderson. He did have the lead for just a little bit, but then he lost it. Going to keep kind of more of an eye on the 3. The 3 might be kind of holding back a little bit. It's a possibility that he is. We really don't know quite yet, as they are going to get to halfway at this on the next lap. They are currently sitting at lap 79. So I have to see, maybe lap 100 is when they come down pit road and get fuel. Not completely sure. I mean, well, lap 100 might not be a bad idea, but they last pit on lap 46. They would have to go at least 60 laps on fuel, so that would be a really, really long time going on that. But that is a possibility that they will do that. I don't completely know. I kind of have to guess how their fuel load will be.
Well, I can tell you what, while we're here live on Ghost Racing Network, let me jump into the virtual cutaway car here. And I can tell you right now, with 100% fuel payload, these drivers and teams are estimating they can go about 43 laps. So with that being said, now the draft, that can skew it a little bit, you know, perhaps add a couple, you know, laps, give or take. But 43 laps is the scheduled distance on one tank of Sunoco Racing fuel here at Daytona.
Yeah, so give them 40. So we can give them, always add about 2 to 3 laps, which you could probably stretch it to, this is a long stretch, you can probably stretch it to 48 laps. If you were drafting and not leading the pack, you're going to be turning lower RPMs, just saving more fuel, but that's if you are not leading and you're drafting back there. So we'll just have to see how, how that works for them.
Yeah, the key to saving fuel in this case in the super speedway setup is, you know, being in the draft, being behind said car or group of cars to get you that fuel mileage save going, or to get that synergy going inside the race car. You're not going to do it by yourself, that's for certain. And for the time being right now, these drivers continue to have a reserved approach to this race after it, you know, it got wild. Well, we'll just keep it at that. Multiple cars suffered big time damage as we had just an explosion kickoff at the front of this thing. We had carnage on the racetrack. Bryce referred to it as Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the nuclear variety, and he wasn't wrong. Since then, we've seen the tone to kind of settle down just a little bit. These three drivers, or three cars, I should say here, almost looking like they're trying to pull away from the rest of the train here. That Mustang is closing back in, but still, that is impressive. Three cars working together or drafting that well that they could just pull away from another group of race cars. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, just a small little gap. I mean, one thing we could keep in mind, too, is maybe these guys are the only ones that don't have damage on the front of the cars. As soon as I say that, though, the 78, he's getting a big shove from the 68 as he's going to be flying up from behind him. It looks like, no, there goes the 41. He is going to duck out.
Yeah, he just bailed.
That's a planned move though, or he actually might have been, he may have been getting too high. He might have been shoving for too long and the engine was about to expire, so he had to completely bail. He wanted to get way out. These engines don't cool down as fast as they used to since they updated them. I remember you used to just tuck out for like 5 seconds and the temps would drop by like 20 degrees, but now they take a lot longer to cool down. They heat up pretty quickly. In the old NASCAR, like early 2010s, they actually had a huge radiator in them, so you could just stay locked to each other and basically draft the whole entire time.
Yep, and that tandem drafting ruined that, and we changed the thermostat spring in that radiator, and we also made some other changes where you can't, or NASCAR tries to discourage that form of racing on the racetrack. But you're obviously the tandem drafted 2-car tango, that was something back in the COT era we're talking about here. 78 getting a big shot from the 68 of Hoxenbaugh. Stony Benfield now runs in third. All these drivers in this group, Bryce, all last down pit road on lap 46, except for Devin Merdos in the 20. He came down 1 lap later on lap 47.
So this is going to kind of make it weird. So these guys that pitted on lap 62, they are catching this main pack right now. The only thing with that is they're, I don't really know if you call them the odd ones on fuel, but they're different on fuel right now because of them pitting. So they can maybe be short pitting this next pit stop is the possibility that they have. That's what I could be thinking that they're trying to do is they'll short pit. Well, no, they can't even short pit. Because
We'll make it sound fancy. They're on an alternate strategy vector.
I was gonna say, I'm trying to think about. So this group right here, their pits, their next one will be a lot shorter than the group behind them that pits because they pitted later. So this is gonna be weird how this goes. I mean, it's evidently it's gonna be fuel only. It's not gonna be anything else. It'll be strictly just fuel. So.
Yeah, Daytona, this type of racing, not one that's really going to eat up the good years. You can run, I mean, I've run 80 laps on a set of, a good years out here, and no problem.
Especially this track. Other tracks will eat them up. This one, you can just go down and get fuel only. That happens a lot. And the only time you really need fuel is when you, not need fuel, need tires is when you lock it down and have to keep your brakes on there.
And that's the only time it can, you have to remember, sometimes it can come up and bite you. You come down pit road, if you lock them up or you have worn tires, trying to get back up to speed quick, putting the power down. I've seen many times drivers make mistakes. The back steps out, and you get a late race caution because a car coming off a pit road forgot they had old shoes and they lost it and sent it onto the racetrack. Or there's things you have to be careful, watch out for as a race car driver. Just because there's a high side advantage, there's always a disadvantage, and that is one of them when you're coming off a pit road and you're trying to get back on track quick, fast, and in a hurry. Steve Williams still carries the torch here. JD back to second in that Coca-Cola machine.
And now with these guys racing like this, especially dealing with these lap cars, this is going to slow them down even more. They've lost almost a whole entire second this lap alone because they're having to deal with these guys on the outside. If these guys on the outside maybe tuck in, they could honestly actually probably benefit from it because they won't be having to fight so hard. Their fuel will be pretty even, but they're just going to decide, hey, let's just do what we want to as long as they don't wreck. Sometimes lap cars can ruin races. I've saw it happen before multiple times. It's not uncommon to see, but so far these guys are being pretty even with each other. Who is that?
Samuelson got left out like the redheaded stepchild there in that 81 machine.
So there he is.
Everyone else got done. Everyone else got down. Samuelson wasn't able to, but luckily found an opening there, was able to get back in line behind the 41.
See Ralph Hutchison, that was the car that ducked off and went to pit road, as he did need to go down. Evidently he has some damage. A lot of guys have damage. They're still riding around. Where is? So this group behind them gained another second. I'm just looking at the time gain that they have. They're gaining every single lap because they're staying in line with each other. They're not trying to bob, weave, do all this other fancy stuff. They're just, hey, we're just gonna stay in this line. So they are probably getting. No, this group is not getting. No, they are. They've gone 54. And as soon as I say that, they've gone 54 laps on their fuel. They come down pit road as floodgates open. They all get down to pit road speed. Now it's gonna
mad dash for pit road. No one lights up the tires or slides off into the grass. No miscues here. Everyone perfect on entry. These drivers now get into their box in those Kansas Sunoco racing field, going into those race cars. As we send it back out to the point on the racetrack, Bryson Hoxenbaugh. There's Patrick Gitter. He was the leader of that second group out there on the racetrack.
We're looking more at these guys because these front threes, they're going to have to come down pit road. They're honestly running on fumes, and I would not be surprised if they accidentally ran themselves out because of that, being on fumes. They are like 40 steps. There they go. Two of them come down pit road. Hotsuma doesn't come down pit road. He may have missed the pit road. That's the only thing I can think of. He is all alone out here on the track, and that is not a good sign. He's going to have no draft help.
No draft help. Clearly has to be on fumes as he was last on pit road on lap 46. Gonna have to keep an eye on that 97 to see if he is able to make it back around, or does the fuel run out?
It looks like he's still up to speed. He's just running on his own. He doesn't have... See if he comes down this time. He's got to come down pit road. There's no... Well, he's going to stay out. He's either gambling on a caution or he's just got a lot more fuel than what I originally thought. But I really thought that he's going to have to come down pit road here soon. Hotsema's getting eaten up by Gitter. Gitter's going to come up here. He'll probably get him in the next 3 laps because they're gaining really, really fast on Hotsema.
Yeah, these guys are absolutely lit right now in this group of cars right here. They are turning some incredible lap times. Patrick Gitter, last time by, I mean, it's almost, you almost think there's something wrong. I mean, he just ran a 45.71. I mean, that is lit.
See, Hoffman, he ducked out because he was getting hot, so that was a clean transition to realize that they need to switch out their pushers, and they kind of opened up a gap for him behind, and they didn't open up a huge one. They didn't lose a lot of time either, letting him back down in line, so they did a really good job of letting him back in. 86 still has some front-end damage. I know he'd probably like a caution to get that fixed. As Hotsema, here he comes down pit road finally. So, excuse me.
Well, no denying that driver there knows how to squeeze every drop out of that fuel cell, or maximize fuel economy. That's for certain.
So he had a 5-second pit stop there. That was fuel only. I don't believe they have another stage. They might have another one though here. Let me see. They do have a stage. It'll be lap 100, but I don't think they do. No, they do. No, that's the other one. That was Indy. I'm not sure. There's no race info on this one, so they may have a stage at lap 100. I'm not completely sure. We'll have to find out. That could explain why these guys pit when they did. So they'd be running it pretty dry. Again, they'd only be taking fuel, though. They wouldn't be taking anything else. Strictly fuel. You could maybe take 4 tires next time you come down pit road if you want. That's if you want. You don't have to, though. $21.86. The question is, what for the 86? If the 86 does go down pit road, does he get the rest of that front end damage fixed? I mean, if he honestly had time to get it fixed, I wouldn't think that would be a bad idea for him to do that. I would honestly kind of take the chance of getting that damage fixed for it. So he does go to the lead. Yeah, I think he realizes, hey, I don't need to lead up here. May have done that just to get a little bit of fresh air, as they'll switch really, really quickly with each other. As there is a caution out on the track that evidently must be staged, so that explains why they pitted like that there.
Yeah, now it makes perfect sense, is that caution is being displayed over the raceway. iRacing.com pace car back out on the racetrack. Patrick Gitter in the 21 going to get credit with that stage win.
So we'll see these guys come down pit road, get some more damage fixed, get full of fuel. You'll be a little bit short. Even if you come and top off before the green, you'll probably be, unless you slow your pace way down, I mean way, way down, you're not going to be able to make it on this final pit stop here. According to what you told me, you'll be multiple laps short.
Yeah, there has to be at least one more trip down pit road after this to make sure you have enough juice in the box to make it to the end.
As shout out Justin Haley for somehow getting the lead at Daytona, and the Rick Ware Racing Ford. Still waiting for them to.
How about that kid, huh? I mean, that's no fluke. I mean, he's had that car, in competitive positions at times throughout the course of the season. And we're not just talking a lap or two. We're talking, majority of races, not staying out on the racetrack or off cycle on pit stops. I mean, just doing things with Rick Ware that I didn't think was possible, at least that fast of a turnaround, as Patrick Gitter leads the charge or the herd down pit road now.
See here, they all come down. Is that my iRacing sound, or is that picking up something? No, it's picking up iRacing. Surprised it's able to pick that sound up there. Let's see. Just gonna look at the times on their pit stops. It'll tell me what they did. So we got a 4-tire stop. Looks like these are all 4-tire stops. Looking at their time. Yeah. So these are all 4-tire pit stops. Got some damage being fixed on the guys that do have some damage, which is a smart thing to do. If I'd be doing the exact same thing if I were them.
Right. Remember, this is the last mulligan this field's going to get to basically throw the caution flag and re-rack the deck. So from here on out, you know, the only thing that's going to slow this race back down is a caution flag. You know, that's when you have to look at trends of the race, right, Bryce? You know, posed the question moments ago. You know, do you spend the time on pit road to, you know, get your car fixed, or do you send it back out there onto the racetrack? Well, obviously, with a stage break, keep it on pit road, get that work done. But should you have problems, you know, post this pit stop, you know, that's all going to be about what your gut is, what you're seeing out on the racetrack. Yeah, you want to have, you know, aero as good as it possibly can be for maximum performance and efficiency for that race car. However, each additional tenth of a second you spend in that box, you know, is an eternity out there on the racetrack. And that's just something that your crew chief, spotter, or a collective there is going to have to figure out, you know, should something arise. As we're starting now to come down, you know, these laps are starting to wind down now as we're quickly approaching lap 100, as we're now working lap 98, writing this in the history books. iRacing.com pace car out in front.
So we got,
now we're going to go ahead.
Yeah, we got some guys that are going to come in and top off. Not a bad decision. I'd be doing the exact same things. The only issue with that is it does put you back in the rest of all that junk that's happening back there with the pack. And when one person makes a mistake, and you'll be thinking, man, I should have stayed out there. Yeah, it's pretty easy to say you should have stayed out after you get involved in it. Just have to see how it goes for them. Lights do go off here, so they will get the green next time by, and I will need to get, who does Bobby want me to get? Next caution, we will get Devin Medeiros, if he is in a room here. Yeah, he did. He is in a room, so I'll get him whenever I do get a chance to pull up drivers.
It's going to be the driver of the 20 machine, currently going to restart just outside the top 10 in that 11th place position.
Two Sprite cars in this race, both have similar paint schemes. Very little difference between them. I think one of them has like a gray banner, the other one has a normal black colored banner. So it's hard to tell between the two. At least they're not identical paint schemes. One thing for broadcasters is it's hard to tell the difference between identical paint schemes and wrong numbers, who the driver is, because sometimes their numbers will be completely different on their car than it is on the timing, and that's one thing that it's annoying to deal with more than anything else.
Yeah, you want to unleash some dark voodoo on a broadcaster, go ahead and do that, because it makes, you're right, it makes our night a nightmare trying to figure that out. Now, if we have history or rapport with the league, we know the driver, that's a different story. But, yeah, that'll make us pull our hair out up here, that's for certain.
As 8. Okay, here. Kind of league that I'm running now. In their championship 8. Points reset. We're all equal now. But pace car pulls in here. Hixenbog and Wembley will lead them to green. Bryson, he does have 6 laps less fuel as he pitted at lap 91. Got to keep that in mind. He does have a differing fuel strategy. Depends on how these guys will hang him out. If they decide to short, now he's going to hope that they short pit. He's going to hope that they do not go the whole entire distance of their fuel tank, because if they do, well, he has made a horrible decision that should have never been made.
It's almost like you were quoting Cake the Distance there, a song back in the 90s. You may know it, but it just kind of popped into my head when you talked about going the distance. And it's kind of funny because he's going the distance, he's going for speed. We're out here racing, so pretty relevant. You got the 3 there, working with the Sprite machine. 2 Camaros on the outside. That Mustang in that third inlet on the high side, the 41. Jason Taylor trying to get there. Big time move here at the front. They take out the party from the high side, and it comes crashing down to the bottom lane now. And a lot of times, Bryce, did you see almost a push gone wrong on the high side of the racetrack? A rare twitch from JD in the 3. That was a big time save.
Yeah, I saw something happen with the top line. I'm glad you caught it, but I definitely saw somebody just really stack up, and again, shoves gone wrong can end up either with somebody in the wall or everybody gets destroyed below you. It just depends on who the driver is, if they can handle the car after it gets loose. Some guys, they set their steering ratio really high, and they got to keep that in mind if they're dealing with that. You do not want to keep it high on that. At tracks like this, at least.
You know, I'd prefer to run a 3.15, but to your point, it's so twitchy. When that does happen, it makes it, a lot more difficult to catch. So for that, I think I run a 2.64 or 2.8? A 2.87. That's usually my preference.
Yeah, I know that they've completely changed it up when they went to the next gens. I was so used to the old gens, it's like 1/16. Now it's inches, so it's weird. It's hard for me to remember the changes that you need to make when you go to tracks like this. And I keep thinking this is the real race when I look at this. I don't know why. I have an in-car camera of Larson going at the same time, so when I look at this, I think this is the actual race. But these guys, again, their fuel will last them to 140. You could come. I think we'll see pit stops around 130 though. 130, we will see drivers start to shoot down pit road and try to get their tires and all that other good stuff that or their fuel. Sorry, as show field. Hold on, let's go on replay here. It's odd that was under caution. Schofield, he's still in the race. I don't know what that is. Oh my gosh, when I change cameras and pan back in the pack, it has to load all these cars. My i7, which is like 12 cores on it, evidently needing some help. I've got my 3080 Ti taking up a lot of the workload, but it's still struggling because they've got so many cars here that are trying to load.
It's funny you mentioned that. I got 6 cores, 12 threads, and I'm having a similar instance at times. At times too. Sometimes you think you got all the power in the world, and the more, it's great to see the competition grow. But the more cars out here on the racetrack, the bigger the track, the more utilization gets ate up locally. And I noticed I was taxing at times here too with my CPU as well.
Well, luckily I have the. I've got mine overclocked. Its base clock is at 3.6, and I'm running it at 4.68. So I'm running a whole gigahertz higher than what it should be, pushing some real power out of it, and it's also pushing heat out of it. But luckily, with me broadcasting, I've been able to get a water cooling, so it's able to handle the temps. But people, I mean, they don't realize that this is taxing on computers, especially having to load. Oh, there we go. Oh, wait, hold on. And he saves it.
Have you ever?
No, I've never. Where is that number? The 04. Where is he at? Cody Porter. I'm actually able to gather it up, and he really doesn't even get hurt from that at all. He just gets right back in line. The 41, he had to have gotten loose off that top line, or he got a shove, went wrong somewhere that caused that to happen. But evidently, he was able to go through the grass pretty smoothly, right back up into everything that needed to be. He didn't merge up in front of anybody. A lot of times, some guys will get hit off the track. They try to merge immediately, and then they pull a Kevin LePage and get themselves absolutely just ran through.
funny you bring up the Kevin LePage incident. I remember watching that live as a young boy, and just that inside lane just going airborne. I tried to figure out what happened. The announcers were just as confused as I was. And it wasn't for instant replay. Once they figured out what happened, they were so astonished. They were lost for words. There was silence. If you silence at a broadcaster, you've done something.
Yeah, it made no sense why he did, and not even he didn't even merge. Just like, hey, I'm just gonna pull up on the track here. Like, I get pulling up and like out of nowhere, but like he didn't even merge. It was just like, boom, I'm on the track. You deal with it now. And he just ran straight through, and I'm just like, what do you expect to happen? I don't know why you would do that. It's just dumb.
And somebody, I forget who it was, almost jumped basically over the back of LePage. Remember, that was the Gen 4 car. The front of those cars, it's like a jack. I'm sure if you, in iRacing on the servers, if you run any Gen 4 or ARCA racing, you think these cars are tough to bump draft with? Go strap into a Gen 4.
Don't even try. Don't even try. You cannot do it in those cars. It is, yeah. If we wanted snowplows and we didn't have attachments to it, just put a Gen 4 and slam it to the ground. I mean, literally, those things are just plows. Their front end is, oh my gosh, it is horrible. It is not square at all. I don't even know what they based it off of.
Yeah, you have to breathe on the back of somebody because the nose picks up the back of the car. The minute you make contact, your wheels are off the ground and bad things happen.
Yeah, I don't even know. I'm trying to find what they based it on. I mean, it says they were used from 92 to 2007, and they went through different iterations. When they were first implemented, they weren't that bad. But when they got to the 2000s, like mid-2000s, that's when they...
Twisted Sister era.
Yeah, that's when they started to make that front end really aerodynamic and try to get a lot of downforce on it, and that's when that did not end up good at all for them. That's a horrible decision. I don't know why you would do that.
If you ever look at a picture from an aerial view of a Twisted Sister car, I mean, it's just crazy how they're not symmetric. The left side is all kicked out, and it has almost like a wedge on the on the fender on the passenger side, and the nose is almost pancaked. And then it bubbles out as it goes across, from right to left across the car. Because back then they didn't have any rules that said that you couldn't basically alter the body of the race car in that manner. However, once we got to the COT era, that's basically started a new revelation in NASCAR with rules, and you can't touch this, do that. And that's been carried right through here to this current car. In fact, I mean, teams don't even build these cars anymore. It's all outsourced. The engines, those are done by the manufacturer, and teams can barely, adjust or modify anything on these race cars. And if you get caught, and we've seen it a time or two since this car has been out in competition, there are hefty fines to pay.
Yeah, there was a penalty this week that was handed down to Denny Hamlin. Apparently, it was a it was an issue at the engine shop that basically these engines have to be sealed, and they have to be used a certain amount of times a year. And basically, Toyota disassembled the engine and they reassembled it when they weren't supposed to, and they sent it back out to Hamlin. And that broke a rule. He was fined 65 driver points and 10 playoff points for the issue that Toyota had. Toyota has had a lot of engine issues this year. Hamlin blew up at Watkins Glen, Ty Gibbs at Pocono, and then they have that issue just doing normal basic stuff to it that they should know, that what they can and cannot do.
But and that's part of it, though. That's the competition, right? Just trying to get just a little bit more than the competition, and sometimes it's just that that micron, that 16th, and boom, engine just expires, does not make it the distance. But, you know, TRD actually came out in a statement and said it's 100% completely on them. You know, they actually apologized to Joe Gibbs Racing, Denny Hamlin. And they actually changed the protocol in-house and how they handle these engines to make sure that doesn't happen again, you know, for obvious reason.
You don't want to be messing over any drivers that you have and keep them pretty happy.
But, you know, it's when you think about it, so much has changed, Bryce, from when you and I first started watching racing. You know, the teams did everything. I mean, they built the chassis, laid the sheet metal on these cars. You know, the engines, they did everything. You know, or especially the bigger teams. Now, I mean, you pretty much just get this car, throw a wrap on it, put your seat in there, and load it up and go to the racetrack.
Basically, just yeah. I mean, that's supposedly to help reduce costs, but we'll just have to find out. I'm not completely sure. I think that it's definitely making it more even for teams because they're going to have certain things that they know to do to the bodies, and other teams won't. So I do think it makes it even, but I think that the universal body also kind of does hurt these cars a little bit just because it just seems like it's, I don't know. I like them. I like that they're a little bit more durable. The old gens. I wish they weren't so air reliant though. That's one thing that I hated with the Gen 6 is they were so air reliant. You were basically foot to the floor the whole entire time. But somebody told me these are kind of like GT4 cars that they are built like. Let's see. So they could 42. That'll get you to 50. You could pit right now if you wanted to. That's a little bit of a gutsy. Hixenbog is going to be the odd one on fuel, though, is the issue. When he's the odd one on fuel, so he's going to need them to pit with him. But trying to get the whole field to do what you want them to is difficult. Gitter and these guys, however, have kind of like formed their own little pack. They've not broken away, or they haven't been able to catch him, but they're just kind of riding back here. I don't know if they're deciding to do it or what, but that may be their choice. It's just kind of odd to see him do it right now.
Yeah, Bryce, I apologize. It's storming out here in Florida. I got knocked out of the session. I'm switching connections, so I'm back here in the booth. I'm just getting back into the race session, and I'll be able to resume coverage with you here momentarily.
And I knew I know a guy in Florida, his power was always getting knocked out. It seemed like every single day his power would go out, and I was like, how many times are y'all going to have your power go out there? Like, oh my gosh, that's ridiculous.
In the summer months, if you're in certain locations get it more than others, and I'm in one of them, it is not uncommon to lose your power once or twice a day. Your internet, at any point in time, because it's all the wires are ran above ground. So I actually have to run 2 connections now because storms down here in the summer months can pop up in literally 20-30 minutes. It can be clear skies, at let's say 6:30, and most of your leagues kick off at 8 p.m. 7:45, 7:50, the skies open up, lightning's going ballistic, and right before you go live, your connection dies. It happens for a lot more than it should. That's why I have the backup connection now. But here in Florida, that's a thing. It can't happen.
Luckily, where I live, it's few and far that happen. But when it does happen, they get it done pretty quickly. That being said, I don't live in a very congested part, so when they don't have to go through all these houses and all these different roads to get to them. It's like, hey, we know exactly where this is, and you don't have to shut down roads and stuff. It's kind of like, oh, it's out in the middle of somebody's farmland. We'll go and fix it. Luckily with that, they're pretty fast with it. So shout out to Appalachian Power for being good at that. Now wait for my power to go out. Now that I said that, I'm gonna give myself the broadcaster's curse, knowing how that is. These guys still deciding to be even with each other. Real life race is at lap 141 of 160. Kyle Larson is somehow running third. No idea how, because he sucks at super speedways and he hates them with everything in his body, and I agree with him on that matter. Hixenbach still leading. He's going to need more fuel, so they need to come down pit road soon, because it's just going to make it even more difficult for him. All riding that bottom line, so maybe they're stretching their fuel. That's a possibility. They could be doing that. I don't... What in the world? Okay, you know... Why do some people have the internet? I don't understand them. 68 still leading. So... Gitter and these guys have gained a little bit of time. They're about 4.5 seconds back. They can't be... You're not going to be saving enough fuel. No way. And they're probably running... Yeah, they're running 5th gear as high as they can get. Yeah, this is definitely swap outs for temperature. 100% that's what this is. They are swapping out because their temps are getting too hot. That's a pretty smooth swap off too, doing that like they are. They're not really losing a lot of time. They're keeping their pace. So they're doing a good job with it. Excuse me here. Hixenbach still needing to come down pit road. I'm going to let the camera choose where we go, and evidently it likes this 81. I don't know what. I have no idea why it likes them. But we'll let that camera choose, and it is definitely dark at this track. I don't know why the backstretch lights have not turned on, but hey. NASCAR may be trying to save some more money. Not be surprised if they did do that.
Well, we could always light a jet dryer on fire back there. That would give some additional lighting.
Yeah, that's true. I think I might have been asleep during that because I was still in elementary school or middle school, but now people make jet dryer jokes. It says, how many people does it take out to take a, or how many people does it take to take out a jet dryer? And they say it takes one. It was Juan Pablo Montoya. I think it had a brake blow apart is what happened to it. And that's why he absolutely smoked the jet dryer. He didn't expect it to happen at all.
Yeah, a brake rotor exploded on his car.
No, this track you probably run. You might run heavy. I don't think you're going to run heavy brakes. You might run. I don't know what type of brakes that you might run, because you're not using the brakes very often. But when you do get on them, you're slowing down from a really, really high rate of speed. But it has happened. We saw it happen with Carson Hocevar, I think 2 years ago at Gateway. No, a year ago at Gateway. It blew up, or he blew his brake rotor apart, and it just sent him straight into the wall, and he was phased. He was dazed by it. You could see he wasn't there at all. He got a concussion. He's out for a race because of that.
2 tracks that I went to growing up. My home track in New York State, so Watkins Glen, and then Pocono, Pennsylvania. Notorious for the aftermath when you have a brake rotor or brake failure issue. And I've seen a lot of big-time crashes at Pocono. I was there when Jimmy Johnson has been coined the wreck that knocked him, basically knocked him out of NASCAR competition, or out of his prime, if you will. And then also when Jimmy Johnson completely blew through turn 1 at Watkins Glen and sent it all the way into the tire barriers, and he got out and jumped down the hood of his race car. I was there for that as well. But the 2 tracks you don't want to have brake issues at, or at least in the car of old, Watkins Glen and Pocono. The brakes on this next gen, completely revolutionary. Now we have carbon disc brakes there. You got a 17-inch tire now, so you can put a much bigger brake rotor inside of on that axle. You don't see the brake failures in the next gens like you do in the cars of the past, and that is a plus.
Yeah, speaking of brakes, those guys just used it to get onto pit road. Hixenbach did have a group that came down with him, which he is very, very lucky that they came down. So this group up here will have to come down pit road. They're probably, nope, they're going to come down the next lap. Oh, the 3 only got the 41 to come with them, though, was the issue. And the 41 is going to be, oh, if he did not speed, he got that thing down barely in time. That's going to be extremely, extremely close if he did. I'm not completely sure if he got it down to pit road speed. Wembley, Hotsema, these other guys will still need to come down pit road. They might come down this time by, it's going to be who can get in pit road as aggressive as they can. So hopefully they can set their brake bias a little bit more to the rear so they can get in a little bit deeper. Have to see. They're going to be coming off of 4 here with 32 to go. And here they come down pit road. So it was next time by. Looks like a little bit of wiggle there. They get down to pit road speed pretty cautiously. This will leave the 3 out. He will be leading his pack, but he's going to get blown by these guys right here who have pitted earlier before him. One thing he can do is maybe kind of block the path of them. Actually, he got out pretty well for hitting when he did. The 3 will maintain. He'll maintain the lead, but he might get blown by here just because of the pit situation. He just let this 41 needs to decide what he's going to do. They don't need to be racing side by side. Yeah, 3's going to duck in behind the 41. Smart decision by him.
Yeah, great decision there. I mean, and he's there. He's with him now. Here comes this other pack of cars. There's Bobby Anderson there. He's going to go to the high side of the racetrack. They're going to try to overtake Top Shelf. Almost up into the nosebleeds here at Daytona. In fact, here they're going to bring it back down.
41, way on the apron. Who is that? Is that the 40? Yeah, that is the 41, way down there.
He took it down to the grass. I'm not sure if something happened with that car, if perhaps turbulent air, but that was just a odd exchange of events there for that Dark Horse Mustang. He was really exploring the space out there and on the racetrack. He's able to maintain the draft, though, as he latches on to the back of that crispy M&M's Mustang being piloted by Bobby Anderson.
So the 90, sorry, excuse me. The 97 of Hotsema still with the lead here. Real life race. Brad Keselowski just got a penalty and he has the lead. He jumped the restart and there is only like 13 laps left. So, yeah.
Brad Keselowski.
Typical B-Rad.
If it was Kyle Larson, they wouldn't have done anything.
Oh, his was, that was pretty apparent that he jumped it. Still hasn't came to pit road yet. Surprised they haven't black flagged him if their penalty's not been debated.
Oh, okay, so he didn't jump and he blew it, is what you're saying.
Well, I mean, it was pretty apparent when he that he jumped the restart. I mean, they got it. He went way ahead of Cindric. He hasn't came down pit road yet. Oh, they got a caution on the tracks. I don't know what this is for, but just keeping you all updated on the real life race. There he goes down pit road. Okay, that was where he finally went. I was so confused. Oh, it's green. It just says caution. That's odd. Reload. Oh, I just yanked my headset out. Hold on here for a minute. I still got sound, hopefully. No, I'm pulling my headset out.
The lead here at Daytona. Charles Wembley in that second place position. Tony Porter, biggest mover of the race there in that third place position. This group of cars here, they are completely, I mean, rack stack, Noah's Ark situation on top of one another. And just as I say that, they kind of flare out there. At the back is that 34 machine that goes up the racetrack, perhaps trying to cycle to the back of that pack of race cars. That's going to cost them a little bit of time, though, as this second group being led by the Coca-Cola Series driver JD.
Just looking at these guys back here, I think that they're kind of just waiting, realizing, hey, you know, let's just kind of be a little bit more cautious, time our run. When we realize we need to go, we can go. Maybe saving a little bit more fuel in case some green-white checkers happen. Gitter and these guys have not been able to catch up. They're still 3 seconds behind. It has to be a decision by them that they're doing this on purpose. I wouldn't think that it would be like this because they want it to be. But I mean, they're definitely laying back. That's for sure. They're not going up there and challenging like I thought that they would.
Well, the 3 definitely decided to pull out and form a high lane here, so they are trying to challenge now for this lead. Now they hit a 3rd car to go with them. I believe that's going to be Samuelson in the 81 it is, who's up 17 positions. Now the Dr. Pepper machine joins the ranks on the top shelf.
41, he is, okay, oh, trying to look at this feed right now. Larson got involved in a wreck. He didn't get much damage, though. Yes! Wow, he is, should be fine, I think. We'll just see here. But
Apologize if you hear my son in the background. He's upset because the 97 is getting overtaken by that top shelf team led by the 88 of Bryson Hoxenbaugh. And they just decided they wanted the lead, and they formed up and they got the momentum and took it. And that 3 is not lifted off the back of that race car. They are still welded to each other, ripping down into the turns 1 and 2 complex. In fact, they're pulling away.
These guys are going at it right now so far. Have to see how well they can be right now, as there will be 26 laps left here. So, I'm going to have to figure out how well it'll work for them.
You know, one thing I'm noticing here at times is, you know, obviously when 2 of these cars, you know, weld together, or if you get 3 really tightly or neatly working together, you can really generate a lot of momentum. But, you know, with these drivers here, especially tonight, you know, when the 3 is pushing the 97 earlier in this race, when they link up, I mean, they literally can pull away from a group of, you know, 2, 3, 4 cars. Wondering if potentially that's going to come into play here at the end of this race as we continue to monitor this lead pack composed of JD currently being scored the leader right now. That 88 machine is actually hanging on for dear life on the lead, or on the final tail of the lead lap, I should say. Lucas Hosema runs second. Ryan Samuelson continues to gain positions, go up the scoring pylon here late in 4th. Cody Porter continues to be impressive, up 24 spots, currently sliding in that 5th place position. Charles Wimbley occupies 6th. 7th belongs to John Williams. Bobby Anderson in the 18 runs 8th. 9th, Stephen Williams, and rounding out the top 10 as they currently run right now, the 41 of Jason Taylor, and that's also the 10 cars in this lead pack.
Guys, so far again, they are good on fuel for sure. They will have probably about 8-ish extra laps of fuel at this track if they do need to utilize it, but I don't think that they necessarily will. Hopefully, that is. Where is that guy? I'm trying to look for. Oh, he's there. A little bit confused on that. The 88, 3, 68, 97. He's keeping it pretty clean.
Just as you said, keeping it clean, Samuelson almost caught a bad push there. He was able to get it corrected. He continues to run. You would have never even knew it happened. But Bryce, you talking about fuel mileage, one thing that completely can change the strategy and throw it out the window. You know, if Daytona says, hey, hold my rear end ratio, watch this, and caution going into overtime, you know, that could change the reality a little bit of being able to make it to being short on fuel. So that's something we're going to have to keep an eye on as well.
It's 3. He's probably not minding this 88 being up in front of him. I wouldn't think it's such a horrible thing by any means. I mean, it just depends, really, to be honest with you.
I mean, no, I mean, for the 3, I mean, that's his fuel pig right there. I mean, that 88 is basically punching the hole in the air now and allowing the 3, to increase the longevity in the fuel economy department. I agree 100%. He's probably, he's not holding him up. He's holding a steady line. So if anything, he's doing the 3 a big favor right now as he continues to lead.
Again, the reason that you're seeing kind of such a small pack is because of that big wreck that happened. There was a huge wreck that involved multiple drivers and just really took a lot of people out, and that's really the only thing that can be said with it. Need to look at the...
It was almost biblical, like something you read the Old Testament. Just Moses raises his staff and watch this, and everyone
Literally
got set. That's got a lot of big names in this field as well. So that kind of slip and shave things down. Then you have the green flag pit stops as well. And as a result, here you have 10 cars for position, but 11 total in this pack. The 88 not the current leader. However, the 3 is behind him. Single car peeled off down to pit road. That was the car that was holding on to that lead lap. Now the 3 is going to remain the leader. However, for all you folks at home, you'll be able to clearly tell the 3 is currently in P1 right now as we're working lap 141 out of the scheduled 160. So Bryce, less than 20 laps to go. When do we see this intensity really start to come up? Is it 10 laps to go? Is it 5 laps to go?
I think when you start, people will start making moves with about 10 to go. You'll see maybe a second line start to form, as I think Gitter's group has now caught these guys. I guess they were just laying back and they were letting them just ride around, is what it looks like. That's the only thing I could think of them doing. I guess they just wanted to stay out of any issues that they had.
Yeah, one thing I've learned about Patrick Gitter watching him race, if he is out there, in fact, he just goes fastest lap of the race, a 44.80 in a next-gen car.
44.80, that's definitely a really fast time.
That's over 200. That's got to be like a top speed of 210, 211 miles an hour.
Let's see. I mean, right now, no, they can hit at least 197 relatively easily. I don't know. That just depends. I mean, he's probably going 205 at the most, maybe, but it could be.
Well, let me go into our timing and scoring here and enable another parameter. Timing and scoring showing me that Patrick Gitter's top speed this race, 210 miles an hour. That may be a little high, but the point being that lap time, I mean, you are flying out there on that racetrack, a speed that these cars typically aren't known for achieving out there on the racetrack. In fact, they kind of get a little bit of a blemish because, Bryce, they don't have the horsepower or the speed of the cars of the old.
Yeah, the speed of the cars of the old, those would be moving. Moving if they were like that. Actually, talking about that, the Michigan flip that Corley Joy had, I don't know if it was true, but I saw a post on Reddit that they were talking about the day after Gordon won at Michigan, they were actually testing a higher horsepower, even lower downforce package, and they were hitting speeds of 225 miles an hour and down the backstretch, and sometimes 230 at Michigan. So they evidently said, we are not doing that because that would wreck everybody. if you're going that fast. 225 miles an hour is absolutely ridiculous. In any car, I don't care what car it is, you have to have lightning reflexes. I don't even think a human can react as fast as that.
Yeah, stock cars, I mean, we all like the speed component, but that speed, that's too fast. I don't think you're keeping a car on the ground at that speed. Should it get out of shape, something happen out there on the racetrack. But, you know, talking about, you know, the evolution of, you know, just going up in horsepower, you know, over the years as, you know, technology improvements in the engine department. And then it kind of peaked and capped 2013, 2014. And then started going back the other way. And you know, thank Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, and those guys for that, because they were just so dominant out there on these mile-and-a-half racetracks. They were winning all the races. NASCAR had to do something to take the edge away from them, and that was basically dial the horsepower back.
These guys are now getting a little bit antsy here with 14 to go. We do have a second lane that has formed. Hoeksema is leading them up there right now, so just got to keep in mind, hey, you know, we're up here. We're leading this top line. I know the 3 will definitely be looking around for anything that happens. He's probably going to stick to that bottom, though. I think the 68 might have a little bit of damage on that front end. Possibly. 368, 81. Not completely sure. Going back to Larson wreck, McDowell also got airborne. Second week in a row we saw a car get airborne, but he stayed on the ground. He didn't flip over. Car came back down very, very quickly.
Roof flaps did its job there. Not like what we had with the 7 at Michigan. You start to see the intensity out here on the racetrack picking up. Those pushes are getting a little bit stronger. We got a big problem uncorking on the racetrack as we have multiple cars around into the catch fence, corralling, bouncing off of each other, and that's going to throw a late race caution out of the racetrack. The 4 of one of the members of the Duke crew, that's Matt DeCiani. You know, back to the GRN instant replay.
See what happened here. It starts with Hoeksema, so let me get to Hoeksema. It's like he drifts up, comes down, and then it's on from there. And he actually gets the least damage out of all of that. Wow, he basically just did a 360 and kept on going. But not horrible contact. I mean, evidently Matt's race is not over. He still has a front end. Very lucky with that. Oh my God, they just showed a photo of Ross Chastain's Camaro. His front is literally dragging on the track, and he has bare bond everywhere. But I don't think we'll see anybody come down pit road. Just no use for it at the moment. But we'll have to see when they go by, as I'm trying to kind of watch the finish of the race here. Actually, me and Matt, we'll actually go on mute here before they go back green, just to give us a little bit of a break also. But we will be back here before these guys do go green. as we are back. Sorry about that. Josh Berry just ended up upside down into the inside wall as they have now red flagged the real-life race. Going to take it to overtime. Cindric also went airborne. That is 4 cars in 2 weeks that we have saw go airborne. That is not good to see. Looks like they're not rushing too much. Evidently, Barry looks like he's fine. I do think that his windshield flew out, or his side window flew out. One of them came off.
You know, the modern era of NASCAR, you got 4 cars going up and over in the span of 2 weeks. That's going to set off some alarms.
Well, that's only, I mean, that's just counting the Cup Series. If we count the Xfinity Series, that's actually 5 in 2 weeks.
That's right.
Even though they did make a improvement there, or what they said was an improvement to these cars. They put another side, or they put a skirt on the top of the cars to hopefully keep them on the ground. But it's once air gets up under these cars, it is just, they get lifted and completely flipped. So
yeah, Barry took flight. But he looks to be like he's okay. A ton of AMR safety crew workers on the scene there as we get back to go ready, or back to green flag racing here at Virtual Daytona. You're live on Ghost Racing Network.
His car will pull in here. Hopefully we do not see cars end upside down here, but green flag is in the air. We are back underway here. The 68 and the 3 gets a good jump. The Coke Series driver Cameron Stone was already not happy that he's here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 drivers out of the race. Some guys are just staying in here.
Green drag racing getting up to speed. The high side versus the low lane as these V8s come roaring back to life here in the night sky. The 64 got... How in the... I am stifled. Not 64. That was the 04. He gets a bad pusher. Something happens to that race car. He falls out of line, out of that lane, and is still able to carry the momentum to put it right back up in the hole. These guys are just absolutely incredible out here on these plate tracks. But I've seen some of the moves these guys have made tonight. And don't look now, but look who is knocking on the back door. It's not It's not DiGiorno. It's Ryan Samuelson. Up to second place. He is teamed up with the big dog from the Coca-Cola Racing Series, and he is giving him the business right now. He is pushing him for everything that he's worth. Down the backstretch into the turns 3 and 4 complex.
Honestly, it's hard being the leader in this scenario because you got a bunch of hungry dogs behind you and you have a piece of meat strapped to you. You have no idea where it is, and you can't stop them from trying to get the spot. But these guys, I mean, they're going to make a move. If they see a move, they're just going to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take this spot. You're trying to block. You're trying to have these guys just stay behind you. It's just so hard to do at a track like this. Extremely, extremely difficult. We'll just have to see how these guys go. The 368, 04, and the 81 on that bottom line. The 81, he was multiple laps down at one point. See another top lane forming. 7 laps to go. However, the Coke Series driver showing why he is a Coke Series driver, a almost 7,000 I rating. But Hixenbog, high I rating driver also. He is a 6,500. So only 200 IR below Jonathan. So even skill level here. Super Speedways, anything can happen.
In fact, Hixenbog's been working with JD a lot here, especially later on in this race. Those Camaros are teamed up once again here at the point. First forward in line is going to be Cody Porter in the 04 machine. Got that 6-speed gear shifter on the hood. I am digging that. That's going to shuffle Ryan Samuelson, who was in second, back to fourth.
You see 3 still staying down there. I don't think this top line needs to show anything right now necessarily. You can maybe lay off just a little bit and say, hey, let's just be a little bit more cautious. Not go so aggressive with each other. But the 86 and the 4, keep in mind, the 86 did have front-end damage. The 4 had front-end damage. I think everybody had front-end damage in that outside line, but they have surprisingly done a very, very good job of keeping the cars in a place to. I need to look up.
Look how tight that outside line is right now. I mean, those guys are vacuum packed on top of one another.
Sorry, when I'm looking at my accessibility. I'm going to mess around with some settings after or when I get a chance on this stream. To figure that out, though.
The driver's going to get stuck in the middle here. The 986 was able to get up in time. That leaves the 8 in the sucker hole. Is now he goes towards the back before he's able to exit the middle, and hopefully he is not going to lose the draft here. As one car, I believe, a 21. Nope, that was not the 21. It was the 20. The Sprite machine is blinking in and out. In fact, he disappeared. He is gone and now back in. Luckily, he's the caboose here on the bottom lane. In fact, he is still blinking in and out. Hopefully the connection for that 20 stabilizes. If there's any point in time of the race where you don't want a case of the blinkies, that's right now.
And you do not want to see a car blinking in front of you, because once they disappear, you can't see them. They can see you. You're like, I don't know what to do. As a 3 gets a little bit of a bump there from Hixenbog. Luckily, he's able to keep it up under control. See how these guys will go with each other. 3 still maintaining the lead. The 68 currently on the bottom.
Yeah, this is where you want to stay nice and tight right now. You don't want to go ahead and deploy with your potential race-winning moves here. That's going to just skew the whole field. The 04 there literally sandwiched Hixenball. What a save, being able to keep that car from going up into that second lane. Samuelson gets loose, puts one of those green Camaros into the wall. I believe that was Stephen Williams on the high side of the racetrack.
The Hoeksema going to side draft here hard. He's got to get this, excuse me, 94 to come behind him. And there goes the 26 down to the inside. Oh, he actually saves it, though. Keeps it straight. He's going to merge back up on the track. I think he's going to actually be able to merge pretty evenly with them, and he will. There goes Hoeksema down to the bottom. The 86 down to block. 2 to go. They're coming to the white flag here. Once the white flag is in the air, the next flag will end the race. The 97 and the 82, or 86, sorry. 86 throwing blocks left and right. Going to be side drafting here with each other. Who will the 81 choose? Or will 81 say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to put y'all 3 wide here. 86 chasing that 97 back up. Here comes the 81 with the bump. Ooh, gets put in the wall because he gets hit so hard.
4 wide. Back to 2 wide.
Hoeksema down to the bottom now. He's got the 81 of Ryan Samuelson.
He's got Samuelson all over that 97 machine. The driver out of the Sunday night NASCAR Cup Series, getting it done here on the other 100% league that's alive in prime time right now, and he is going for the gusto here. He pulls out too late. He's going to get stuck in the middle. The 4 is going to get the run on the high side. Here comes the Sprite machine. He's going to force Samuelson into the wall. It's going to be Matt DeCiani in Daytona that's going to get the win in the big house as he gets it done here in prime time. What a thrilling finish. Joseph Gould is going to come in second, Charles Wimbley third, Clayton Hoffman fourth, and Lucas Hoeksema in that 5th place position. Bryce, that was absolutely rowdy, but yet drafted beautifully by these drivers. Nobody ended up in a ball of fire coming down to the start-finish line here at the virtual Daytona Speedway. What a drive here by these guys up at the front. Matt DeCiani currently being scored as the leader. I'm going to confirm that just to be safe with iRacing as well. And I can confirm Matt DeCiani has won this race with the last lap coming to the line move that we so often see here at Daytona International Speedway.
Let him do his burnout here before we get him in for an interview.
Tell you what, the Duke crew dialed it up here when it mattered. They had a lot of performance in those Camaros when they needed it. I mean, you even talked about it, Bryce. A lot of those cars had damage. It's hard to overcome that, especially with this type of racing against this competition, and they found a way to make it happen.
It's like he's done with his burnout. He's got some heavy front end damage. So if he would have had to been leading a line, that would have not ended up too well for him at all. I will pull up the race results here and bring in the top 3 drivers. We will start with Charles Wembley. If I can find him, let me go to. I can't even find. There it is. Charles Wembley here. Hold on. Charles Wembley. At him and ask him to get in here. At wait for the 3rd place driver to get in here to begin with. Harrison Burton is restarting 2nd. Jesus, what fever dream are we in? Parker.
You know, there's a Parker Retzloff.
I raced against him. Parker, if Dark Horse Parker Retzlaff, if he wins that race.
You know, I didn't even want to say it, but that'd be crazy. That'd be so cool to see him win.
Let's see if they have gotten into a room here now. Looking for Charles Wembley. He hasn't, so we might have to go to Joseph instead. Yeah, we'll do Joseph here, 86. Hey, Joseph, this is Matt and Bryce in the booth. Got a copy, man?
Yes, sir. How are you doing?
Man, so you come home 2nd. You fall just a little bit short there, but, you know, how hectic was that race? And especially, what was your point of view from the big one there that happened?
Oh, which big one?
The one that it was coming to the tri-oval is the best way I can describe it. Took out like 19 drivers.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. All of our Zodiac Dynamic cars got a lot of damage from that, but we had some horsepower under these bad boys that it didn't really matter all too much. But we ended up getting it all fixed by the end.
You know, so how was the racing overall? Because it seemed like there were periods where guys were just deciding to go in a line, then some guys would duck out of line. But what did you see mainly from your point of view on how people decided to race each other the whole entire night?
It seemed pretty calm. We had a few moments of aggression when needed. I know me and my teammates, we really tried to set ourselves up to control both lanes or just control the pace of the field. But yeah, the riding in line was probably smart. You know, kept it clean for the most part. We had a few incidences here and there, got caught up in a few of them, was able to fix the damage. But it wasn't super aggressive, and it was a lot of fun.
You know, so what was going through your head that last lap when you saw those guys really battling and blocking and doing everything that they could to stay in front of each other? And what was your thought process? Was it just find a teammate and stay with them, or is it just if I have a chance to win, I'm going to take my chance and try to win it?
A little bit of both. Going into this race, I wanted to get Matt DiGianni the win, so I was trying to do everything I can to get my car in position to manipulate air and take advantage of people's mistakes. Did a lot of side drafting and was able to get Matt in front of me into one on the last lap. and then had him back up to me so I could give him a good shot through the backstretch into the start finish line. And that was really my plan the whole time there, coming down to the end, was to just set my car up in position and my other teammates in position to get us the best finish we possibly can. Matty needed the points, so I really wanted to make sure he got them.
It definitely. Oh my gosh, Harrison Burton just won his first ever race.
Oh, would you look at that?
Yeah, ruined. Sorry that I ruined the ending for you, but that is
Huh?
a waste of a playoff position there. But how have the races gone for you so far in this league that they've had? Because it seems like they've not been too bad at all.
The the races that I've raced in were pretty good. We started out the year really good. At Charlotte, I believe it was. I felt like I was competitive, just didn't get the finish I deserved there. Had a couple races that I had to sit out just because of life, and yeah, I'd say it's a good group of guys to race against. It's competitive. I enjoy it.
Yeah, it definitely has been a very competitive league. But do you think that this just really makes you a better driver overall? Because I mean, you're racing against guys who are extremely high I rating, who are going to be taking it to you every single week.
Of course. Uh, it's always good to race with guys with high I rating because you learn a lot, and it makes it competitive and fun and something to strive for.
All right, man. Well, before I let you go, is there anybody you want to thank? Any sponsors you want to shout out that may have been watching the stream here tonight?
I'd like to thank Team Conti for supplying a killer setup. Zodiac Dynamics is our house team here in the league. Matt for creating the beautiful paint schemes that you saw out there today, the Mountain Dew cars. It's nice he gets that $50. Um, and everybody else that's within the Zodiac Dynamics ecosystem that we got going on. That's Pat Gitter, that Carl Dotson, Paul Hill, and of course Matt. He and Derek had to sit out today, but everybody over here makes this very competitive and makes us competitive every weekend we race.
All right, man. Well, I will let you go, but good job coming home second tonight, man.
Thank you, Bus.
That was Joseph. We will bring in the 34. He found a room. He wasn't in a room before, so. Actually, hold on. No, he didn't. Oh, actually, he didn't go below the yellow line to pass. That was the hold position. We'll bring in the 34 now. Hey, Charles, this is Bryce and Matt in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Or I got you.
Man, so you come home third. You fall just a little bit short there, but what was going through your head that final lap, knowing that basically chaos was going to break out and everybody was going to be going for any spot that they had a chance to get?
Well, first of all, Lord God, Lord knows I don't know where I'd be without him. Honestly, my entire process through the final laps, um my head just went black. I just put my foot to the pedal, and famous words was, I wasn't gonna lift until I see God check the flag. So yeah, I made everything. I just got a big run on the end of turn 3-4, and somehow went from I think P6 to P3. But really cool to see a Team Conti team car win, and this was definitely a very fun learning experience.
So how have the races gone for you so far that you've competed in? If you had, is this your first race with this league?
As a matter of fact, it is.
I was gonna say when I was looking at it, I was like, I haven't saw his name before. So how was the racing from your point of view? Because it seemed like we had periods where guys would try to race each other, then they'd fall back in line, and they try to race, and they'd be like, I don't want to do this now. They just fall back in line behind each other. So how did it go from your point of view?
Well, you just have to read the room. I mean, if you see people going aggressive, then that might be a time where you might need to. If things calm down, if everything's single file, the worst thing you can do is go out of line and they won't help you. So just reading the room, seeing situation. I'm trying to learn situations where I could be aggressive when we're benefited, when we just need to back off and stay patient. So, like I said earlier, it was a really fun learning experience. Just learning how to get better at these triple players, something that I've been wanting to do, and doing these very long races will definitely help me in the long run. So it was really fun.
Okay, man. Well, before I let you go, is there anybody you want to thank, any sponsors you want to shout out that may have been watching the stream here tonight?
Yeah, Aerial Works, Sprite. I know this was a beverage night, so just wanted to shout out one of my favorite drinks. I had the team content set up, so that was pretty badass. And yeah, this was very fun.
All right, man. Well, I will let you go, but good job coming home in third tonight, man.
Thank y'all. Have a good night.
It's Charles Wembley, the third place driver. We will bring in the first place driver, Matt DeCiani. Hey, Matt, this is Bryson, Matt in the booth. You got a copy, man?
Yeah, I got you guys.
And so you come home with the win there. You know, what was going through your head those final laps, especially with all the damage that you had? Because you had some heavy, heavy front end damage.
Yeah, I honestly didn't even know I had it, and I was actually completely fixed there. Well, according to iRacing. But I had 4 minutes at one point, and I don't know. At the end, it was just find your teammates, and yeah, Joe was like, back up to me, in the middle of 1 and 2, and backed up, and we got a huge run down the back, and just able to take it all the way back to the checkers.
So how did the big one go for you that they had? Did you get involved in that? And I'm assuming you did, because like 90% of the field was involved in that big wreck that we had. And if you were involved in it, how did it affect the rest of your race?
Yeah, I got involved. I didn't hit the wall that hard, but I had right front wheel damage. I had the 30-second meatball and like 330 of optional, and got it fixed, and I was fine in the draft. Just really couldn't lead. And then the 5 of us that were working together did one hell, or 5 or 6 of us, I don't even know how many it was, did one hell of a job just drafting, pulling pitch strategy to just, do well in stage 2, and just we kind of knew who was damaged and didn't have any of them leading there. But yeah, I mean, this is 100% a team win. We executed fantastically throughout the entire race. So big shout out to those guys.
So did fuel ever play a strategy? Because I was kind of confused by y'all pitting the way that you did. Was that really just kind of to time it for the stage end?
Well, we knew that we could be faster in a group of 5 or 6 than the pack, and we knew we actually kind of had something similar in NAS last night, where the most you can go on fuel comfortably is like 42, and I mean that was like a pretty long stage, so like we knew there was zero chance really to make it, and if you did make it, getting back around to stop was going to be almost impossible, and I think we saw some guys run out too doing that. So we knew right away what our plan was: stop as soon as we were a couple laps with good in the window in stage 2, and we tried to do the same thing in stage 3.
It definitely was it was an interesting call. I was confused, and then because I didn't see the race information, that didn't realize there was a stage, and I was like, oh, that explains a lot of their pit strategy. Were you guys deciding there towards the end just to kind of ride back? Because you guys were staying back like 3 seconds, and I was like, why are they not going up there? So is that a choice from you all to do that?
No, not really. We were trying to catch the pack. We just were kind of disorganized in our switching. We had, their second car pull out and fall in line, and we kind of just were disorganized there for a little bit and didn't really pick up any time, and then we figured it out and we just drove right up there. Then we had that yellow with, what, I don't know, 11 to go, 12 to go, something like that. Kind of just reshuffled and broke us apart, but it all worked out.
Yeah. What was going through your head that last lap? Were you just kind of just hoping that a teammate would just stick with you and push you there? Because last lap of super speedways it's a complete toss up.
Yeah, I knew they kind of got in trouble. Those 2 cars got out front when we had majority of the energy, behind me and Joe, and I backed up to Joe as soon as I can just to we start getting forward momentum down the back, and I was able to pull them. And yeah, then I think they went 3 wide, so there was a natural side draft from the car in the middle, and we just had so much speed, we just blew around the outside.
All right, man. Well, before I let you go, is there anybody you want to thank? Any sponsors you want to shout out that may have been watching the stream here tonight?
Yeah, Team Conti, Martin PC. Shout out to Joe for one hell of a push there to get me the win. Shout out to Pat, Carl, Paul, Clayton. He was working with us all night too. So shout out to those guys, and it was definitely a team effort. Thanks for you guys for calling the race too.
All right, man. Well, I will let you go, but good job tonight, man.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
That is Matt DeCiani, the race winner. I will go over the finishing order. Matt DeCiani first, Joseph second, third, Charles Wembley fourth, Clayton Hoffman fifth, Lucas Hoetzema sixth, Ryan Samuelson seventh, John Williams eighth, Patrick Hitter ninth, Bryson Hicksenbog 10th, Devin Medeiros 11th, Cody Porter 12th, Jason Taylor 13th, Bobby Anderson 14th, Paul Hill 15th, Jonathan Dulaney 16th, Stephen Williams 17th, Carl Dotson 18th, Corey Cook 19th is David Salter, 20th, Patrick Stein, 21st, Andrew Dyson, 22nd, Stoney Benefield, 23rd, Cameron Stone, 24th, Jim Schofield, 25th, Matt Long, 26th, Ralph Hutchinson, 27th, Cody Bird, 28th, Anthony Garland, 29th, Randy Bell, 30th, Nolan Hodgson, 31st, Neil Pearson, and 32nd is Cameron Combs. Not a bad race overall. I definitely did see the big one, which is not surprising. But, Matt, how did it go from your point of view there?
This race had everything we expected and then a little extra zest, especially, I'll quote you here, with the nuclear explosion out there on the racetrack. 19-20 cars involved. Some of those collisions in that wreck just absolutely violent, especially from drivers like Nolan Hodgson. And then you seen the resiliency when these guys kind of got behind the 8 ball. I mean, Matt DeCiani and those guys, I have some history with them. They're very tough competitors, great race car drivers. They don't crack under pressure, and I'm not surprised to see them guys here at the end. Tip of the hat to DeCiani for getting the win. Just all around, and how about the Coca-Cola Series guys coming out, or JD out here tonight? Hopefully he sticks around and brings some of his friends, and they put on a great performance here this evening. It had everything that you'd expect from Daytona. It had the wrecks. It had the close quarters racing. The guys coming from multiple seconds back behind the lead pack, working together, and then it all going down in the last lap. And dramatic finish at the start-finish line. Just got to thank Bobby Anderson for all the hard work he's doing with this league, and he's really building something special here, and I really look forward to being here with you each and every time these guys go live and do business out there on the racetrack.
All right, well, I'm not going to keep you all here any longer. I also have work tomorrow, but hopefully we will see you here for the next race. Don't know when that will be, but hopefully that will be soon. But I'm not going to keep you all here any longer, and so I will let you all go.